helped the Padres sweep the series with the Pirates. 5th straight win, too. Now, it's off to the Big Apple to face the Yankees. Plus, SDFC gets a big win back at Snapdragon Stadium.
Back to Milan. The Escondido product fires goal. 5-0 San Diego FC.
Time to talk about it all with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California is going on. Hour 1 of Jon and Jim. What a great start to the week. Jim with one of his top 5 worst updates, which is saying something.
There's
We've
a
got
reason.
A new system. We have the new system where we have 2 monitors, and like his update read that has the information for the sponsor was on another monitor, but
I
we
lost
couldn't
it.
find it. Anyway.
The show started, and I took my main screen, and I just slightly dragged it, and it just all of a sudden disappeared. And I was like, where is it? And it's on my other screen now in our studio, and it was in the far left corner, and I couldn't see it.
Why is it that we make excuses for everything, but when the Padres don't have like Jackson Merrill, we're like, no excuses.
No, this is different.
I know.
But that was the reason for that awful update. And John's like, yeah, okay.
Sure was.
And oh, by the way, you're blasting your phone the second I start my update as well. Thanks for that.
All right, Kevin AC will join us coming up at 3 p.m. The story of the weekend was, is there a window to play baseball because of the rain in Pittsburgh? And the rain has followed the Padres to New York City. The good news is the Padres swept the Pirates. They're hoping to get, we need to start with Jackson Merrill, because the expectation from Kevin AC and others was that Merrill would be activated tonight if the Padres play game 1 of the series against the Yankees. But we don't know if he will be activated or not. He is not in their starting lineup. He traveled today for whatever reason to New York as opposed to yesterday. And it looks like, Jim, at the very least, even if they play baseball tonight, it looks like we'll have to wait 1 additional day to see Jackson Merrill. How much does this have to do with the weather? How much does this have to do with just the rehab process, getting him back to speed? If he doesn't play tonight and the Padres play, Jim, it's a 24th consecutive game that Jackson Merrill has missed. The good news is they're 22-11. Heading into Yankee Stadium here tonight against the Yankees, but no Jackson Merrill in the starting lineup. We'll see if he's activated today or if they wait until tomorrow.
It's a little weird, but I get it. I understand why.
You think it's weather?
I think it's weather. I think it's also travel, right? Again, I don't know why he maybe wasn't traveling yesterday in the first place, but if the whole time that the plan was for him to travel today, it's probably smart, rehabbing from this injury on a travel day. You just want to rest, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. I mean, they won 5 in a row, so it's not like they're spiraling right now.
No, they're not.
They're playing really good baseball. So having Jackson miss another day, I don't think is the end of the world, especially if you are expecting him and have him already penciled in the lineup for tomorrow at Yankee Stadium. And another thing too is like, tomorrow might be, depending on the weather, potentially maybe a double header day. So I don't mean,
well, he wouldn't play both. I wouldn't think.
That's what I mean. He's not
back.
gonna play both, but still, there's a lot of things happening right now in New York. Weather is a big factor, but I also think a big factor is travel for Jackson, and they've won 5 in a row, so there's no like really big rush and hurry to get him back right away.
Yeah, but I do wonder, like the travel part of it. If you played Saturday for San Antonio, wouldn't you have just traveled on Sunday to New York? But for whatever reason, he traveled today. Maybe they were looking ahead at the weather. I mean, the weather is expected to be awful all week in New York. Now, they might play this game on time, but it's been raining throughout the course of the day. If you look at the weather forecast in New York City, I mean, it's 90% chance of rain today and 85% chance of rain tomorrow and 50% chance of Wednesday. Shoot, when they leave town, it's just raining for 6 consecutive days. It's raining in New York. So it's probably not the ideal conditions to return from a hamstring injury within, but at some point he's going to have to play. I mean, even if it's tomorrow, if there's a chance of rain tomorrow, are they going to keep him out of the lineup? I would guess not. The good news is this. They just swept the Pirates. They rebounded from the 4-game losing streak. They swept the Giants in there as well. They've won 5 consecutive games. They've got the second best record in baseball behind just the Dodgers by a half game. I mean, they're 22-11, Jim. This is such a cool series going to Yankee Stadium with all this momentum under the bright lights, assuming they can play these games over the next 3 days. I'm so good pitching matchups. Nick Pivetta here tonight. I'm just excited for this series because the Padres have played so well over the first month of the year.
They played fantastic baseball after their 11-game kind of subpar skid where they went 3-8, and they immediately just said, all right, we're going to go on a run right now. And it's helped that Luis Ariz has been back in the lineup. What's their record with Luis Ariz in the lineup? Something crazy.
21-6.
Yeah, 21-6 with Ariz in the lineup. They have played fantastic the last 5 games. They're putting runs on the board. Their bullpen has been lights out. We'll talk about the bullpen coming up later in the hour. Some insane numbers from the bullpen. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. doing Fernando Tatis Jr.-like things on Saturday night. And Xander Bogaerts is hitting. Manny Machado over the last 5 games is red hot. So they have definitely flipped that script here after that bad 11-game stretch where they went 3-8. And I do think that off day on that Monday, after that Sunday loss, really helped this team kind of just like reset, flush everything that happened the last 11 games, and, you know, having some guys back in the lineup helped as well. But like flushing all that away that off day, I think really helped this team. And we've seen it the last 5 games.
Yeah. And Luis Ariz, who you mentioned, has 8 hits in those 5 games. He just makes the lineup look better. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that this team is better when closer to fully healthy. And when they get Jackson Merrill back, they will be basically fully healthy. You wait on Cronenworth, but Kevin's writing today in the UT, they do expect him to return in Colorado on Friday. So you're just days away potentially from the Padres being almost fully healthy. Yes, they're without you, Darvish. But again, the starting pitching, the team ERA, not just the bullpen, the team ERA is the best in baseball right now at 2.78. And you're right on Tatis. Tatis on Friday night, we didn't talk about this on Jon and Jim because we have another show. He gets hit squarely in the forearm. His arm like blows up like a balloon. He said to Kevin AC postgame, he thought in the moment he would miss the year when he saw his arm balloon like that. Not only does he not miss any time, I mean, he's back in the lineup the next day and makes the most impactful play of the series. A hustle double, steals third, advances to home on a ball that gets 4 feet away from a catcher. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. is still doing MVP-like things 33 games into the year, which is awesome to watch, including on Saturday with what he did. He basically stole a game from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That must have been such an awful feeling in the moment. Like, well, there's my season.
There's my career.
It's over. I mean, there's my season. It's done.
Good.
Like, probably thought he fractured his arm or something. And I'm sure the giant welt that formed on his forearm didn't make him feel any better. Like, oh, okay, I actually see what's happening right now. And it's a giant welt.
Right.
And it really hurts. And I can barely move my hand right now. Yeah. To have him back in the lineup the next day and do what he did on Saturday night, essentially winning them the game in the 9th inning, was incredible. But I think more so over the last 5 games, Tatis, that's great. Merrill, or not, excuse me, Ariz, he's been great back in the lineup. Look, we got to give credit where credit's due.
Schulte?
No, not Schulte gets credit.
Okay.
We have trashed on him a lot on this show, and for good reason. But Xander Bogaerts over the last 5 games, he's been fantastic. He's been really, really good. And I don't know if Xander's going to do this for a prolonged stretch, but over the last 5 days, he has been the Xander Bogaerts that people want to see more and more. He's hitting for power. He's driving in runs, and that's the most important thing. He's playing good defense. You know, he was not doing that the previous, 30 games of the year or whatever it was?
2 years.
That's right, 2 years. And for the last 5 games where they're 5-0, Xander's been really good. He had a really good series in Pittsburgh. He had a really good series against the Giants, getting his first home run of the year, having 2 games in this 5-game stretch with over 3 RBIs. That didn't happen all last year. He had I think 1 game with 3 RBIs or more last year.
I need to look that up.
Now he has crazy. 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. So Xander Bogaerts gets credit for me for the last 5 days. And hopefully he can, be consistent and keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, 6 RBIs to your point because he had those 2 3 RBI games. And that's what we're looking for. I don't need the high batting average. I don't need the high slug. Like even these 5 games, Jim, here's the crazy thing. He's been impactful because he's had big moments, but it's not like he's torn the cover off the baseball. He's 5 for 20, 250 over those 5 games, but he's got 6 RBIs. I think he's had 4 run producing hits over those 5 games. I'm just looking for impact from Xander. I don't need at the end of the year to him to hit 309 or him to have 23 home runs. I'm looking for impactful moments, which is something he has absolutely had over these 5 games. In the Giants series, you could argue he won them one of those games with the home run game, his first home run of the year. And then again, what he did on Sunday against the Pirates, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Like, this is what I'm asking for. I don't care about the batting average. I don't care about the slug. Give me some important, impactful moments to help the Padres win. And he's done it twice over the last week.
And that's exactly the point about Xander. I saw these numbers from Kevin. It's like, oh, he hit 299. It's like, but was he impactful?
Right.
And the answer to that question is like, no. We watched every game, and Xander wasn't impactful. Even going 5 for 20 over these last 5 games, you just see he's been impactful because of the RBIs, the hits, the big moments, the home. Like, he's been impactful, and you're absolutely right on that. And by the way, I just looked it up, John.
Yeah.
I was giving Xander too much credit for last year. He had 0 games last season with 3 RBIs or more. I'm serious.
0.
Less
than 1.
So
me and him at the same number.
So it's less. It's 1 minus 1, and that's the number that Xander had 3 RBIs last year in 1 game.
But is it -1 plus 1 to get to 0?
It's 5 times 5 times 0.
It's a million times 0.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
He didn't have a 3 RBI game last year.
No, not 1, and he's had 2 in the last 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I want to hear from Mike Schild on the other side on Toddy. We need to explain these Padres bullpen numbers because they are insane. Plus, the Padres and Michael King back in New York taking on the Yankees this week. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us at 3 p.m. We'll tell you about our giveaway today coming up on the other side as well. Do not go anywhere. We're just underway. This is Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim. Kevin AC will join us coming up at 3 p.m. We'll get a weather update. When he joined us Friday, he's like, oh, everything's perfect in Pittsburgh. And then there was like a 2-hour delay.
10 minutes later.
So what do you think he's going to say today? I don't know if they're going to get this game in. Then they're going to play perfectly on time. 4:05, game's going to get underway. Sunny skies.
I'm going to say, Kevin, I need you to look outside right now. Is it raining or not? And then if he says yes or no, like, okay, then I need to know exact answers, Kevin. Will there or will there not be a rain delay today?
Well, the tarp is on the field.
Okay, so that's good.
It's good for a delay.
It's good for a delay.
And it's good for keeping the field dry.
Yeah, that'd be bad if the tarp wasn't on the field.
But no joke, if you look at the radar, which I've been doing, it's been raining. And I mean, it's very iffy if they can get this game in. There may be a window later on. Like, look at this. That's a lot of green. It's a lot of green moving through, but there may be a window in there. So we'll see. We'll ask Kevin.
Particularly like that.
Kevin will join us coming up at 3 p.m. Also today, we have tickets to give away to see Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan at the Outlaw Music Festival, May 15th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So cool giveaway. Willie Nelson with Bob Dylan, May 15th. We'll let you know when to call to win those tickets. It'll be at some point in the 4 o'clock hour. I want to hear from Mike Schilt. I haven't even heard this. This is Mike Schilt on what Tatis did Saturday, the hustle double, the steal of third, makes his way all the way around to home on a ball that got maybe 4 or 5 feet away from the catcher, the decisive run, the winning run for the Padres. This is Mike Schilt on Toddy.
That play the other day is just a one-man show. Put on a clinic. First of all, hit the ball. They're playing no doubles. Tie game, understand it, and then hit the ball to the left of Tays, but recognizes where the left fielder's playing. Gets after it out of the box, and next time he's in on second. Then he looks to see what the inning looks like because he led the inning off, and we got one out, and he's like, all right, I got this thing timed up a little bit. Takes third, and then we get 2 outs, and he's hunting the ball in the dirt, and the ball doesn't get out of the circle, and people ask, have you seen that before? I was like, yeah, when I was coaching American Legion Post 262. we were really good at that. But no, I have not seen that in the big leagues, and just made a amazing play at a really important time in the ball game to allow us to win a game 2-1.
That was an incredible 9th inning on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. I want to say, where just the entire game they couldn't muster up anything offensively, like nothing. Thankfully, they got that home run from Manny there in the 7th, or else they might not have won that game. And it's tied 1-1 in the 9th inning. Like Schilt said, he gets this hustle double, steals third, and just instinctively goes home on a ball that doesn't even leave the batter's box. It was an incredible thing to watch, and it reminded me of his rookie year in 2019 when he essentially almost did the exact same thing, except this was on a pop fly to like the shortstop in Pittsburgh, where he scores from third base. It was incredible. That moment, if he does end up staying healthy and winning an MVP, like that's going on the highlight reel right there for sure.
100%, completely agree with that. It was a special moment. By the way, Dennis Lynn reporting at this hour that Jackson Merrill has joined the Padres at Yankees Stadium. He's expected to come off the IL tomorrow. We'll talk more with Kevin about this coming up at 3. Dennis writes, after playing the last 2 days in AA San Antonio, he's getting tonight off as part of the final stage of his rehab, Mike Schilt said. So no mention of the weather or the conditions because he played each of the last 2 days in AA. They wanted to give him that additional day. That'll be his 24th consecutive game missed, which again, all things considered, I think the Padres are either 4 games or 5 games over 500 since he went out when they were 8-2. So the team's been fine. And, it would be one thing if they weren't, if they played poorly over these 24 games, but they've played well. And Jackson Merrill reportedly a day away from returning to the active roster.
No, that's good. And then back to Tatis. I think what you're seeing from him is the things that not only make him special, but he's just a winning baseball player. Like the things that he does are winning plays. Now I know earlier this year there was a moment where he stole third base, and he got thrown out, and there was 2 outs in that. I think it was like the first inning, and there's 2 outs in the 9th inning the other day. So the initial thought or initial, thing when Tatis stole third and got thrown out was like, Tatis, let's let him be Tatis. If he gets thrown out, he gets thrown out. Well, no, there's different situations here why that play was dumb and this play was a calculated smart risk to take. The play that he got thrown out at third base earlier this year with 2 outs, that was in the first inning. All right. That was it was in scoring position. And by the way, he's going to score if that ball just it goes anywhere on the field and someone doesn't get it. He can score from anywhere. So that, to me, earlier in the year, that was dumb. That was a bad base running play. Saturday night, that was a I don't want to say smart base running play, but it was a calculated risk that was worth taking. You haven't scored all game. It's 1-1. Your offense has done nothing besides that Manny home run. You got Xander at the plate. There's 2 outs. Instinctively, he just saw the ball. He went. It was a risk worth taking, and I'm totally happy took it because it ended up paying off.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the play that he was miscalculated on earlier in the year, I mean, over 162, a player like him is going to be on base so often. He's not going to be perfect in choosing those spots, so you're going to make a mistake like that. The one thing to Tatis's defense, now that we look back on that play that you're referencing, is, yeah, he can score on any base hit from second, but he just proved 2 days ago from third he can literally score on balls that bounce up there.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, you have a better chance to score third than second because of, wild pitch, pass ball, error, right? Those are the ways to score from third without the benefit of a base hit. Infield single allows you to score from third. He's not going to be perfect.
No.
He doesn't need to be perfect. They are an aggressive team. That means you will run into outs. Maybe you'll be misguided at times. But, I mean, that play did remind me as well of his rookie year in 2019. In fact, he had spoken recently here about, it was actually before Saturday. He said, I need to learn when to pick my spots. I can't hustle like I did in 2019. And I'm paraphrasing. Because I got to stay on the field for 162 games. If you watch this series against Pittsburgh, he grounded into a double play at one point this past weekend, and he didn't sprint down the line because he had no chance of being safe. And you're going to have to do that over 162. We've talked about that before with Manny Machado. I just think he's a smarter player. He's more disciplined. He understands his number one value is playing. He could have the greatest game in the history of the Padres, but if he can't stay on the field, I'd rather the consistency of Tatis than the individual moments of Tatis, and hopefully that's what we get in 2025.
Well, thankfully his season didn't end Friday night.
Exactly.
Like he thought it did. He thought it ended Friday night.
Yep.
And he comes back and he wins them the game on Saturday. Now, do you get where as far as the WAR goes, how much WAR does he get for what he did Saturday night?
No, I mean, he doesn't get a win.
I know, I'm joking.
I mean, but his year is going to speak for itself, to your point. I mean, his WAR is probably over 20% of the way through the year. Is that true?
I'm asking that because, when you say a player's WAR, it's like, well, Tatis literally won them the game on Saturday.
It's so hard to quantify.
And it's so hard to equate
without
WAR.
the pitching.
I know it doesn't make
and
any
without
sense.
Machado.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, he didn't truly win them a game, but he kind of won them a game. He's got a 2.4 WAR, 20% of the way through the season.
It's incredible.
2.4 times 5 is 12. So
if he had a 12 WAR season, he's
dude, if he has a 9 WAR season, that's a monster year. And right now he's on pace for better than a 9 WAR season. We'll talk about this Padres bullpen on the other side. As good as it has been, as good as any bullpen in baseball, we have the numbers to back that up. Plus, Michael King returning to New York this week, and Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, he will join us coming up at 3 p.m. with much more on Jackson Merrill, expected now to be activated tomorrow. Just underway. Stay with us, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Padres and Yankees start a 3-game series tonight in New York, weather permitting. Jackson Merrill, he is back with the club. He will not be activated today. He will be resting today and be activated tomorrow. Moving over to SDFC, they ended their 3-game losing streak emphatically with a 5-0 win over FC Dallas this past Saturday night. Next up, SDFC will take on St. Louis this Saturday on the road. An NBA playoff action happening tonight. Celtics and Knicks tip off game 1 at 4 p.m. and then Nuggets and Thunder tip off game 1 at 6:30. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. Like the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a JBC, 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink, because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. For the best deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 is 13 chances, $200,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m., which includes each of the next 3 hours. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Kevin Acee will join us at 3 p.m. from the Bronx, the new Yankee Stadium, which isn't that new anymore, where it's been raining today. So Kevin with an update on the weather, and Jackson Merrill will join us coming up at 3 p.m. All right, do you want to get into this Padres bullpen success story? It's like one of the top stories in the sport, how good their bullpen has been here in 2025, as good as any in baseball.
All right, listen to these numbers.
Yeah.
And these are updated through yesterday's game.
Yeah.
Their ERA as a bullpen, 1.73. That's the best in baseball. 14 saves, best in baseball. A .97 whip.
Best in baseball.
Best in baseball. A 183 batting average against.
Best in baseball.
And they're striking out a ton of batters as well, not walking a bunch of batters. They are right now easily, far and away, the best bullpen in baseball, and it's actually really not even close.
I mean, that to me is probably the most critical reason as to why they're 22-11, and also the least sexy part of it, because oftentimes with baseball, you're talking about position players and stars, right? The Machados and the Tatises. They get way more discussion. Xander Bogaerts is going to get way more discussion than, let's say, Adrian Morejon. And then beyond that, in a pitching staff, you typically talk starting pitching way more than you talk, relievers. So we've spent way more time on Dylan Cease's struggles, or Michael King and his good start, Nick Pivetta, his remarkable start to this year, than we've talked about Jason Adam. And we don't spend every day talking about Jason Adam.
No.
We've talked about Robert Suarez because of saves, but we don't. So the bullpen, it's not that it's completely unsung, but they're nowhere near 22-11 if they've got the 15th best bullpen ERA in the sport, but they don't. They hold every lead, by and large. They hold every lead. And that's how you get off to a 22-11 start. And
eventually, guess what? They'll blow a lead. They're not going to go.
Don't say that.
They're not going perfect for the entire season. They aren't. But
right. I think they've blown one. Is that a 1-run lead when a reliever came on and the run scored from third?
Might have. I can't remember.
I remember it, but there's no way they haven't blown one lead this year, because I know they have.
Well, Robert Suarez is. He's perfect in save opportunities.
Yeah. Yep.
He's probably going to blow a save this year. Remember last year, he was basically unhittable like he is now through the first half. And then second half was a completely different story.
No, you're right.
It was like, is this guy like their closer still? Is he okay? But right now, up to this point, if you're looking at reasons why they are where they're at, the bullpen has to be mentioned within the first breath that you take. Tatis bullpen, the bullpen's got to be up there. They've been fantastic, and Preller over his time as GM of the Padres, he's built historically some good bullpens, and he's always a guy that will find a closer. I mean, how many closers has he just picked up and they've turned into all-stars?
He's had really good
almost
ones.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to build a back end of the bullpen. He's done it historically. He's done it very well last year. You saw it. I mean, that's the one thing is I just wish this Padres team last year had more time in the postseason last year, because I really do think their bullpen would have led the way, and they just weren't given that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, I mean, Game 4, because of Dylan Cease, they fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
Game 5, it's not because of you, Darvish, but the bullpen wasn't going to win them a game in a game that they didn't score.
Well, Adam and Scott came in and they were dominant.
But again, it's like, as good as your bullpen is, you're going to need to show some signs of life offensively, which is something they've done. It's so much different in the regular season than the postseason. It's so magnified. It's so heavy. Like, you don't score in one game of the postseason, it feels like the sky is falling. You don't score in one game of the regular season, the world keeps spinning. I mean, shoot, already this year, when they didn't have a rise, and of course they haven't had Merrill, they went 30 consecutive innings without scoring last week. Just over a week ago, they went 30 consecutive innings without scoring when they had lost 4 consecutive games. But again, they don't have to be a top offense. I think the point you've made with this bullpen is you don't even have to be a top 10 offense. With this bullpen, with this rotation, you got a top 15 offense, and they should be better than that, and you're going to win a ton of games. And I think this year has probably proven that. They don't have the number 2 offense in baseball. They have a good enough offense, and their pitching has led the way. They have the number 1 staff ERA, not just bullpen ERA, staff ERA in baseball right now.
And the thing that is so exciting about this bullpen so far, not that they're the best in baseball, like that's exciting in itself, is that Preller is going to be looking to add to this bullpen later in the year.
Yeah.
And if they continue to be I don't think they're going to be this dominant for the whole season, but if they just still remain to be the best bullpen in baseball, and then you're just going to add to that at the deadline without having to give up like top prospects to get these like really good relievers to come in here, Preller's going to do that. And that just makes their bullpen even more of a weapon.
It's like, I don't even know where the weakness would be right now in their bullpen, because even these guys we don't talk about on the A team, the Wandy Peraltas, the Alec Jacobs, they've all been good.
I know.
Obviously, you don't have a 1.73 ERA. You can't have one guy with a 7. That would balloon the rest of the ERA.
Right.
So I don't even know what their highest ERA is in that bullpen.
Well, is Logan Gillespie?
He's not healthy, right?
He's not healthy, but he's pitched out of the bullpen.
Yeah, but he's been on the IL now with his oblique. There's not a lot of weaknesses, but I do agree with you. You can never have too many bullpen arms, and they will absolutely add to it, even if they have the number 1 bullpen ERA in the sport.
But right now, with Morahone, Estrada, Adam, and Suarez, there's nobody better than those 4, like together collectively in the sport. Yeah, you get a lead after 5 innings, 6 innings, like it's pretty much over with at this point of the season.
Listen to this. Alex Jacob has the same ERA as Jeremiah Estrada, 2.16. Okay. Yuki Matsui has a 2.57. Listen to this. Wandy Peralta in 14 appearances has a 1.35. That's better than them all, other than Adam and Suarez. Logan Gillespie in 3 games had a 2.5. Stephen Kolek did not allow a run in 5 1/3 innings.
We haven't talked about Stephen Kolek. He was fantastic.
Ryan Berger does not allow a run in his Padres career. That's 2 outings. Like, there's no player has leaked, so to speak, all year out of their bullpen. And again, to your point, that's not possible for 162 games. But man, I didn't know if it would be possible for 33 games. That's incredible.
It is. When you have that bullpen and the trust that you have in that bullpen, it just makes everybody calm, knowing it's like, all right, we're going to the bullpen.
Right. There's
not like at this point of the season a bunch of anxiety. It's like, oh no, pitcher didn't get to the 7th inning. How are they going to get to the 9th? Like,
right.
It's like, can you get through 5 with the lead?
That's all it is.
Can you get to the 6th and we'll take it over there?
Because Vasquez, they haven't asked him to be a 6th inning guy.
No, Kolek's not going to be a 6th inning guy.
Cease hasn't been a 6th inning guy in 7 appearances. He's gone 6 one time.
Yep.
So you're right. You get to the 6th inning, shoot, maybe the 5th inning with a lead, and the Padres are going to win a lot of those games.
Yeah, this is most of the time you don't see fans excited to see the bullpen. They're like, oh, I can't wait till the bullpen gets ready to go. That's a different story here in San Diego, I feel like. Completely. I'm excited when they're bringing out Estrada and Morahone and Adam and Suarez when they have the lead, because I just feel so confident in those guys that they're going to get it done. They've been pitching beautifully this year. And it's really, really fun to watch. It's something that you don't really normally say when you go to the ballpark. You're like, I can't wait to watch the bullpen today.
That seventh inning is going to be electric. But you're right. They've held those leads. All right. I want to hear from Mike Schild. He has spoken with the media before today's game. Will it start on time at 4:05 Pacific or not? Kevin Acee will have the latest on that at 3 p.m. as well. We'll hear from Mike Schild on the other side, part of his pregame media scrum. Kevin Acee will join us in less than 20 minutes from the Bronx. Don't go anywhere. This is Jon and Jim. You can download the all-new iHeartRadio app and listen to Jon and Jim live weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Pacific. You can also listen to live play-by-play like SDFC and San Diego State. It's on the all-new iHeartRadio app, and when you download it, make sure to put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets. You can put Jon and Jim in your presets to listen back to any hour of the show, any interview on the show. We'll hear from Kevin Acey, Jim. What do you think Kevin's going to tell us at 3 p.m.?
It's raining.
It's wet.
They're playing baseball.
He's going to be like, they're definitely playing a 4:05 and then 3-hour delay. Now, earlier today, you saw his tweets. He's like, if they play.
Right.
So he was going down the path of like, this weather's not good. They might not play this game. But we'll get the update from Kevin. They didn't do the early rain out. They didn't do the like, don't show up at the ballpark. We know it's going to pour all night.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there might be a window. I mean, the gates are probably open because we're about an hour out from first pitch. So we'll see with Kevin.
There's already been one game this year in New York where it was raining and they got it in, but then they banged it after 5.
Like
so
5 innings.
Yeah, so it count. I mean, the game was official.
Yep.
But it only went 5. So maybe there's a window tonight that they're looking at to see like maybe we can get in at least 5 and see what happens. And
I like a window, man.
Windows in baseball when it rains. Love that.
Pitching matchup, by the way, is a good one. Nick Pivetta, Carlos Rodon. Pivetta 5-1, 1.78. Rodon 4-3, 3.43 ERA. So good matchup. All three of these matchups this week are good. Padres going with Pivetta and Cease and King.
Yeah.
This week, Max Fried is pitching in the series for the Yankees. He's 6-0 this year with a 1 ERA.
Is that good?
It's very good. Aaron Judge is playing for the Yankees this year. He's very good.
I heard he's having an okay season.
He's been all right. Just 423
with 11 homers and 33 RBIs and a 1,200 OPS.
Yeah, but if you think about 423, that means he's out 577.
That's not good. That's bad, actually.
Although his on-base percentage is like 600.
He sucks.
Let's hear from Mike Schilt. This was within the last hour on Game 1 at Yankee Stadium. He started by talking about the weather.
My understanding, we're playing at 7:08.
Okay, very good. Nick Pivetta going for you. He's taken his game to a different level this year, whether you look at righties or lefties. What do you think's been the biggest difference for him in terms of what he's fine-tuned to take it to the next level?
Yeah, I think he's done a lot of quality things. You say righty, lefty. He's been terrific for us. His fastball's got a lot of life to it. He's been able to throw it in the zone. He's been able to work off of that to throw other pitches, been able to control counts, get ahead and a lot of hitters, and has pitches to put them away. So he's done a great job.
Facing an offense that has scored a lot of its runs via the home run. So obviously you need to be careful of that. You're always conscious of not trying to put guys on base, and even more important to make sure there's no free passes and with a home run hitting team like this.
Well, I think it's always important. I mean, listen, regardless of the clubs you play, there's capable guys in the lineup. Clearly they have a good lineup. We don't like to give anything away in competition. We want to make and execute our game plan and make adjustments when we see they need to be made adjustments during the game. So, we're going to pitch them tough. We'll pitch our game and we'll catch the ball and go play the game.
Jackson Merrill in the clubhouse today. How exciting is it to see him making progress and hopefully joining you soon?
Yeah, no, it's great. Jackson's back. Looks like he really was, as you would expect with all our guys. Like just got through doing it. Crony's in the process of doing as well, but just a very professional rehab. He dominated every day in what he was able to do. No more, no less. Actually, some more on some of the areas that he was looking to help support the team and stay ready mentally. But it's great to have him back, and we'll see what tomorrow looks like.
Not playing tonight a matter of just the travel or the wet weather on the field?
Not playing tonight as a schedule of his rehab. Okay. Yeah, he played Saturday, played Sunday, and scheduled a day off today to recover. From a couple games. But yeah, so he's on track for tomorrow.
Jose Iglesias not in there tonight. Is he all good, or you just got Wade going against the lefty? That's
our lineup for today.
Okay, so Iglesias is good.
That's our lineup for today. Yeah.
You guys are obviously getting healthier, getting these guys back right now. For you to have been kind of like be where you are now, having the record that you have and played some of the baseball that you have, what does that do kind of springboard maybe for the rest of the season in terms of knowing you can sustain some of the adversity that you faced? Yeah, I mean, we sustained it last year. It's part of the game, right? Is no one's going to feel sorry for you. We talk about winners finding solutions. We have, roster's depth. We have people that are capable and fulfilling different roles if called upon. And, unfortunately, we've had to call upon it, but fortunately, guys have answered the bell and guys have come up and contributed, taking a complete roster, not only the 20s that we have, but the 40-man as well. And it's further indication that we have good players, but also a complete indication that we play the game the right way.
it gives us the best chance to win. If you, this game I was talking about earlier, we throw strikes, we're always going to be together. That's what this group does. A lot of love in this clubhouse. We play clean defensively. We just got through doing it, of course, the last 5 games. And we execute on offense and take what the situation gives us, whether it be with the at-bats or on the bases. Toddy coming to mind, in game 2 in Pittsburgh. All those things, stack up to give me the best chance to shake hands.
All right, that was Schulte.
I like the way that Schulte just is not going to say anything, and he thinks that it's like a competitive advantage by not saying anything. It's like it's
talking about what, Iglesias?
It's baseball, bro. It's not football, or basketball.
That's a good point.
Like, why is Iglesias not in there versus a lefty tonight?
Right.
And Tyler Wade is because he's not. Like, that's not a competitive advantage. Like, what do you have? Whatever.
He's got some old school in him.
That's our lineup for today.
Yeah, and he talked about the weather, and that's how managers should talk about weather, which is like they say we're going to play at 4:08 Pacific, 7:08. That's when we're going to play. You don't obsess over it. If it changes, it changes. Schulte's one of one, dude.
I know he is.
He
really
one
is.
of one, and it's worked out pretty well for him in both St. Louis and San Diego.
Yeah, it has worked. He'll always be that person. He is
changing.
He's
man.
not changing. It's kind of funny to listen to all the time, but yeah, I never understand the competitive advantage aspect of baseball unless you're not saying like what you're going to do in the from the bullpen standpoint
right.
here,
but you're going to put the lineup out.
Yeah,
and you're going to show your 26-man roster, and you're going to have pitching probables.
Right.
Yeah, there's not much you can really hide.
There is nothing. Well, there are a couple things, but
not a ton. Right?
Like who's up and who's down in the bullpen.
Yeah, something like that. That's a good point. Or you're not going to hide Merrill being available. He's either going to be on the 26-man roster or he's not.
Yeah, there's not much strategy when it comes to there is strategy in baseball, obviously, but what I'm saying is compared to like football. Or basketball.
Oh, it's so much more meaningful. You're right. Because in football, all week they play around with the doubtful, probable, did practice. Because then it gets into the opposition's head. Like, is Mahomes actually not going to play?
Right.
Well, we have to prepare for him because he actually practiced on Thursday, even though he's listed as doubtful. That's way different.
Way different.
Than starting lineups in baseball, pitching probables in baseball, which have to be delivered within 3. Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's some old school in Mike Schilt, but it's worked out, man. I was just thinking about this because Darnay tweeted about this a couple of weeks ago. Darnay Tripp.
Who?
Since they were 50-50 last year, finished 43-19. They're now 22-11. So they're 65-30 in their last 95 regular season games, the best record in all of Major League Baseball. So whatever Schilt has done has worked. The buttons pushed. Again, it's not solely him, but they're 65-30 in their last 95 games. Now that doesn't account for the postseason, which counts. They blew a 2-1 lead to the Dodgers, but man, they've played some of the best baseball in the history of the franchise in the regular season over the last 100 games. I don't think they've ever had a better 95-game stretch than 65-30, which is the one they're on since the second half of last year. It's pretty good.
Let me answer that without really looking it up. You're right.
Yeah, in 98 they were good, but they won 98 games. 65-30 is a pace of 100 and I don't even know how many wins. 115, 110?
Probably the all-time mark.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be pretty good, you know? So they're rolling, and we'll see if they can keep it going in the Bronx this week if they play these games this week in the Bronx. Again, hoping for a 4:08 Pacific first pitch time today. Nick Pivetta, Carlos Rodon. We'll catch up with Kevin Acee on the other side. He's in New York, where it's been raining all day long. We'll get the updates on Jackson Merrill, on the weather, on this series. Padres looking for a 6-game winning streak should they win here tonight if this game is played tonight between the Padres and the Yankees. So we'll take a timeout. On the other side, we'll catch up with Kevin Acee in the 4 o'clock hour. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. This is featuring both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. But our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, joins us next from New York. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Padres coming off a sweep against the Pirates. Start a 3-game series tonight, weather permitting, against the New York Yankees. Jackson Merrill is with the club in New York. He's expected to be taken off the IL tomorrow. Today is a rest day for Jackson Merrill. Moving over to SDFC, they ended their 3-game losing streak emphatically over the weekend with a 5-0 win over FC Dallas. Next up, they'll take on St. Louis on the road this Saturday night. And NBA action tonight, second round gets underway. Celtics and Knicks game 1 tips off at 4 p.m. Thunder and Nuggets tips off their game 1 at 6:30 in OKC. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal, like the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen, and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. The best deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
All right, hour 2 of Jon and Jim, and we will start the hour with Kevin Acee live from the Bronx Yankee Stadium, where first pitch time is just over an hour out, depending on weather. So, Kevin, we always appreciate you taking time. I feel like weather has been the story of the road trip through Pittsburgh and New York to this point. So, can you describe what we're dealing with here? Like, is this light rain, heavy rain, thunder, lightning? What's the situation? I need all the details on the weather an hour out.
It has been raining all day. A little while ago, it was pouring, but they met around 4 o'clock. They, team officials, league umpire, and decided that they were going to try to get it in, but they believe that there is enough time during this, I guess you could call it a window in this storm that is supposed to be lasting days here in the north, or maybe in the northeast, and they figure they better try and get this game in. And so, you know what? I'm going to kind of trust them. It has lightened up. It's done what they said it was going to do. And, the crazy thing about the fields out here in the Midwest and then on the East Coast, they train incredibly well. So looks like they're playing.
Well, hopefully they are, and they can get these games in New York. Going back to the Pirates series, Kevin, sweeping the Pirates, looking good. In particular, Saturday night, we've been talking about this on the show. What Fernando Tatis Jr. did there in the 9th inning, from coming off of where he literally thought his season was over to essentially winning the game for him for the team on Saturday night. It just feels like when he does those things, you got to take him for granted because that's a special player that we're watching.
It sure is. I mean, I get pretty locked into, hey, one game, there's a whole long season. And then there are times during a season you have to stop and go, no, man, I just saw something incredible. And he took the team and he lifted them and he went 360 feet essentially on his own. He hit a single. He had no right to be anywhere but first base based on the fact that he was the only guy who got a hit. And no one else got the ball out of the infield, and Manny struck out, and he made it happen. And I don't know that you want me to go through why it was so incredible. I'm sure you guys have talked about it, but just the steal had its own, intricacies, and then the run home on the barely a wild pitch had its own intricacies. And look, I think there's a lot of players who would do what Fernando Tatis Jr. does if they could, but there are a handful that have his awareness and his skill.
He's just a special player, and we know that's the case when he's healthy and on the field, and even coming off that hit by pitch makes a huge difference, obviously, on Saturday. Kevin Acee's with us right now from New York. So we heard from Mike Schill briefly earlier. The plan right now for Jackson Merrill is one additional day. He had a successful rehab, apparently in AA, and they'll wait until tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and I saw him. He looks good. And I haven't pinned down when was it they decided this. People have been saying he was going to be back and activated. But anyway, he's here. He'll play tomorrow. Maybe it's a good deal. I started to wonder this morning, like now look, he's healthy. So, it's not like you're going to baby him, but also this field's going to be a mess. So I was starting to wonder, what's the story? they've known there was going to be rain here for a long time. You know, they could have sent him out a day early to San Antonio, got him here for the start of this series. And I just think the bottom line is that, like this whole thing, they are, you know, not rushing, and they're being very careful. And, you know, it's worked out for them. They got to play the Rockies 3 times and the Pirates 3 times. And they're 11 games over. Is it 11 or 12 now? 11 games over 500. And, you know, it's hard to argue with how they've handled this whole thing.
And numbers are the numbers. They're 21-6 with Luis Arraez in the lineup, 1-5 without him. Pretty important player of this team, it seems like, Kevin.
Yeah. And it's funny because obviously it's a much smaller size, right? Like they were 8-2 with Jackson.
Right.
And, you know, look, they played the Tigers, they played the Astros. They're just 2 really good teams. Or no, sorry, it was Astros and the Rays. So there goes that argument since the Rays aren't very good. They did have good pitching. But yeah, look, Arraez changes the excitement, the energy level, just like Merrill does, just like Tatis does. But he's there hitting between Tatis and Machado, and so that's going to change how pitchers are attacking guys. I mean, Arraez is just huge. Like I have my growth chart or like my flow chart on how I've gone and feeling about Arraez is like, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see why, you know, the guy's not valued at a level that like his batting average might suggest he was, or his batting average would have had him valued back in the 90s or the 80s. But after watching it with this team for what is now a full calendar year, parts of 2 seasons, like, I think this guy's incredibly valuable for all that he brings to a team. And especially if the rest of the lineup has good players, I think Arraez in there lifts everybody. I just think, I don't know that he's worth $17, $18 million a year, but I just couldn't agree with you more that like Luis Arraez is huge to this team.
Kevin Acey's our Padres insider. He's in the Bronx. Yankees Padres hopefully getting underway at some point later on this afternoon Pacific time. You've seen the Aaron Judge numbers. I'm sure the Padres have as well. I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to them. He's hitting .423. He's going to got base over half the time.
Yeah.
As good as the Padres pitching has been, do you expect there to be some type of like Aaron Judge rules over the next 3 games?
Yes. I mean, and look, I wrote about it over the weekend that they've done a remarkable job. Kyle Tucker, O'Neal Cruz, Marcelo Zuna. And so what you do is you identify that guy. For the Pirates, there's really only one guy, and that's O'Neal Cruz. But you identify that guy who's not going to beat you, right? You got to plan to pitch everyone, but that guy in particular, who is not going to beat us? And then you have to have the game lineup. You have to pitch well to everybody else, so that, you know, you have an open base or what have you, the circumstance is right to quote unquote pitch around the guy, right? And they have done just a remarkable job of that. But then Aaron Judge is a whole nother matter, right? And that's another pretty good lineup around him, or at least they're finding ways to be good around him, even without Juan Soto and some other injuries. And so, yeah, this is going to be their biggest challenge yet. And Michael King kind of elucidated it today when he was talking about the fact that Aaron Judge, who, by the way, is like batting .420 with a 1,200 OPS or something. It's insane how he doesn't have any holes. Like O'Neal Cruz, you show him inside, you pitch it outside. Maybe he'll chase at it. He did yesterday a little bit. And you know, so you got to give him his walks. You do it. Well, Judge has no holes. Like King was talking about, pitching him outside. No, okay, well, no, pitch inside. No, can't do that. Like, this is going to be their biggest challenge.
Yeah, he's the best hitter in baseball right now. It's not even really close. Kevin, what's the plan going forward with Luis Campusano? Brought him up. He's been in the DH spot mostly. What's the long-term, I guess, or maybe short-term plan that you know of with Luis Campusano?
Designated hitter. They like their catcher rotation. Could one of these guys get tired? But I don't think that's like in the plan that he's going to catch. That's not my understanding. They truly, truly believe in what these 2 guys, Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz, are doing with their pitchers. I think the proof is just take a look at the numbers. But you hear them talk about it, you hear the pitchers talk about it. I don't think there's any plans to introduce Luis Campusano into that. They have this run of 4 lefties in a span of 5 games. Bring him up, have him DH, see if he can grab onto that Yuli Gurriel role.
Kevin, what do you expect the corresponding move to be for Jackson Merrill tomorrow?
Haven't asked about it and haven't been able to figure it out myself, but like Oscar Gonzalez, I mean, he's the guy who came up for him. Right. And I think Tyler Wade's earned his way onto the team. Like, I just don't see a place for him for Oscar.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was wondering, do you think based on what Stephen Kolek did on, was it Saturday or Sunday? It was yesterday?
It was yesterday.
What Kolek did yesterday, is he automatically going to stick, or because of the off day on Thursday, could they again do some math here, option him, and then re-option up a Kyle Hart to could that potentially be the move or no?
They say they're big on Kyle Hart, but just being that it would have to be so quick, I don't necessarily. I started to map it out, and maybe I'll ask about it in a couple of days or tomorrow or something like that. Like, it's a good question. I don't see them doing that because you could get away with it, but not really. Like, you're going to need that fifth starter pretty soon. Yep. So I don't see them making a move, but it is a good question and one that I do have in my notes to sort of see where they're going with that. But like Stephen Kolek, that was like he was pitching in spring training at the beginning. Like, the guy knows what he needs to do, and he did it yesterday. Now, he did it against the Pirates, but his next start being Colorado. So I don't think you're going to move up a guy. Hey, you know what? We're gonna have one of our good guys pitch in Colorado. Right. I think that Stephen Kolek will get his next turn in Colorado.
We've talked a lot about Xander on this show. We've talked a lot about Xander with you, but in the last 5 days, Kevin, he's only 5 for 20. But me and John were saying, like, he's been very impactful in the last 5 games defensively. The RBIs at the right moments, the home run there, like, so when you look at Xander's last 5 games, you might be like, oh, he's only 5 for 20, but it's the impact that he's showing. And that's something that, we haven't seen from him. And I'm sure that you were surprised, as like me and John were, when you might have looked at last year to see how many 3 RBI games he had, and he had 0. And this year he had 2 in the last 5 games. Like, he's doing the impactful things that we want to see from Xander in the last 5 days, right?
Yeah. And you know what you'd like to see if you're a Padres fan or you're someone who, roots for good players to play well, that even if Xander's not going to be the Xander Bogaerts of most of his time in Boston, 5 Silver Sluggers, Xander Bogaerts, that he would be that guy enough to help the Padres, achieve their goals. And he's perfectly capable of doing that. I'm a big Xander guy. I am. I look at those numbers and I'm dumbfounded by the drop off. Okay. But there's no way around that it's been disappointing and that, he's discombobulated. But so I don't know what to say about where he's going, but you're 100% right. He's huge, absolutely huge. And he played some really good defense in Pittsburgh. And if he can be that guy, they've got enough on this team that can be enough. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. It would still be, you'd have to look at it and go 25 mil, huh? Yeah. But if Xander can be a guy who can be impactful, doesn't have to be 6 RBIs and 2-3 RBI games in the span of 5 games, but just an impactful player. They've got enough good players to be able to have that be important.
All right. So final update though, Kevin, is the tarp at Yankee Stadium currently on the field?
Let me go around the corner. It's a little chilly out there, a little noisy. I wanted to give you guys my full attention.
Don't worry.
Just to make sure. I was pretty confident that I was right, but yes, no, the tarp is still on there and it is raining. It's foggy. It's raining pretty good. Look, it seems that 4 o'clock meeting, I was surprised when 4:15 I heard they were playing this thing. So I'm like, okay, well, they think they can get it in, but I also suspect that they're hoping against hope based on the fact that, I don't know if you've read about the reports, but like they're going to get a deluge here for a couple days. So they might just be hoping against hope that they can get the game in today because maybe tomorrow's going to get banged.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it, but it appears as if we might not start on time, which would be 4:08 Pacific. Tarp on the field, rain falling in New York, in the Bronx. Kevin, stay dry this week in New York, and we'll catch up with you at some point on Wednesday, all right?
Right on. Take care.
All right, Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, will react on the other side. We're here until 6. We've got a giveaway of Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson tickets as well. This is Jon and Jim. And also, Kevin Acey, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino and Resort, the Players Place. Jon and Jim. All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances. You can win $1,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 6 a.m. through 6 p.m., including coming up here at 4, 5, and 6. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. We'll give away Tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. If you missed our conversation with Kevin Acee, you can find it at sportssd.com or on the free iHeartRadio app. My takeaway is this. It's unlikely they'll start on time. It's how I see it. Tarp on the field, 40 minutes out from scheduled first pitch. Unless the tarp comes off the field at some point in the next few minutes, it doesn't appear as if they'll start at 4 p.m. Pacific.
Because doesn't it take at least like 30 to 40 minutes to get that field ready to go?
Yeah, I'd say 30.
Like tarp off, fully put away, field ready to go, lines drawn, bases put on, dirt, get ready to go. Like, and the players got to warm up. They got to get ready.
Yeah, probably 30 or 40 minutes, which they still have technically as of now, but you're getting to the point where are they really going to play on time if it's raining right now in New York? I mean, are they even going to play tonight? Like, it's very hard to know if they are. I know the gates are open because I'm looking at the Yankees Twitter handle, and the gates open at 5:30 Eastern. So they're planning to play here tonight, but it's one thing to plan. It's another thing to deal with Mother Nature. And Weather Nature.
Weather Nature and Mother Nature.
And not just today, man. I mean, it's supposed to rain tomorrow. It's supposed to rain on Wednesday. I mean, tonight is going to be really poor baseball playing conditions regardless. It's going to be 50 degrees. Cold. It's going to be wet. It's going to be windy. So you got to deal with that over 162. And tonight might be one of those nights if they do, in fact, play.
Not only does it stink because of all the conditions, it stinks because these are two really good teams.
Yeah.
You got the best player in the American League going up against arguably the best player in the National League.
Point.
The Padres are red hot right now. Yankees, the pitching matchups are all fantastic this series. That's the biggest bummer of this whole thing is you want these two teams playing in like good conditions.
Yep.
Last year, Yankees were here at Petco, didn't go the Padres way, but at least we didn't have to deal with the stupid weather conditions. I don't even remember the series because it's my wedding, but playing in New York, the rain and the potential for rainouts and it just sucks.
So the Yankees just announced within the last 41 seconds, please be advised, we do not intend to start tonight's game on time. So we nailed that. Tarp's on the field and they'll need the 30 or 40 minutes. So they will begin in a delay. And listen, there's some games that you can wait 3+ hours. There was a game this weekend where it started at 10 o'clock local. Was it Braves Dodgers? Potentially. There was a game this weekend that started past 10 p.m.
Yeah,
local.
Braves Dodgers.
Yeah, so I mean, you can wait it out. In the big leagues, they could wait 2-3 hours if they really wanted to. In New York, I don't know if they'll want to do that tonight or not. I would think they'd be tempted to wait because there's no assurance that it's any better tomorrow. So if you don't wait this out and you postpone it, what if you get into the same situation tomorrow and you have to postpone the game? If you have 2 postponements in the series, the Padres have to go back to New York this year. That's how it works. On an off day, they would have to travel back to New York to play at least one game. That would be a guarantee. And that's why you never want weather. It's one thing to have one rain out. You have 2 this series, which again would surprise me. But if you did have 2 this series, you have to go back to New York at some point this year on a mutual off day for both teams.
And the bummer about that would be the Padres have already had like a million off days.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be fewer. Now, people pointed out Thursday's an off day for both teams.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a possibility or not on the heels of a series. Maybe it would be. But yeah, it's annoying, right? That's the thing with the big leagues. Like you got to go back. Mm-hmm. You miss games, you got to go back on an off day to New York.
I would try if they had to bang these games here. If both teams do have an off day on Thursday, which it looks like they do, right?
They do.
I mean, that's got to be it. Like, why leave New York when you have an opportunity in front of you on that off day to just like get the games in and not do it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why would you not do that instead of like, you know what? We have an off day for both teams here,
and it's a beautiful day. Now, I don't know if it is.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
but off day, both teams. The weather is fine enough to play some games today. So you know what? We're actually going to wait till later in the season. Like what?
Yeah, no. I'm with you. By the way, on this 4-game road trip to this point, 3 of the games has started in delay. So of the 4 games that they've tried to play so far, 2 of them started in delay in Pittsburgh. This will start in delay. They've had at least 3 tarps on the field over these 4 days. So it's been the story of the trip, obviously, the weather. But the Padres have played well on this trip as well. They're 3-0. And they got a chance. We said we'd take a 5-4 trip before the trip started because why wouldn't you? But now they could do a lot better than that, depending on what happens next weekend in Colorado against a 6-26 Rockies team. Plus, the Yankees are just 5-5 in their last 10. They're 19-15 overall. It's not as if they're invincible. We'll see if the Padres can continue to play well this week as well.
That's what we said on Friday. Like, talk to me maybe midway through this road trip,
right?
Because 5-4, most 9-game road trips, you take 5-4. Mm-hmm. But with the sweep in Pittsburgh, if you could take 2 or 3 from New York, now you're 5-1 on this trip, going against the worst team in baseball on the road. Now you got to at least win that series at minimum. So, yeah, I expect them to be better than 5-4 on this trip. I expect them to still continue to play good baseball. And it's nice that you've already swept one bad team and you have another bad team coming up after this Yankees series. And sweeping teams, guys, don't take that lightly. Don't poo-poo it. Don't just say, oh, you know what? It's just the Pirates. It's just the Pirates. Yeah, they might suck, but years past, you would have loved to be like, man, I'm so glad they swept the Pirates.
Yeah, someone had a comment on our YouTube page for the wrap-up show. Like, the same people that poo-poo sweeps of bad teams are the first people to say, how could you only take 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh? Like, right. There is no winning. You sweep them, oh, they're not good. You lose a game, how could you lose to the Pirates? We will switch gears for a first time to the NBA playoffs on the other side. Plus, coming up at the 4 o'clock hour, again, your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets, actually a pair of tickets, to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. The Padres and Yankees will begin in delay from Yankee Stadium. We'll have an update on that on the other side. Stay with us. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by the West Automotive Group. Padres Yankees tonight in New York. It's already in a rain delay. We'll keep you updated there in New York. Jackson Merrill is back with the team in New York with the Padres. He will have a rest day today. He's expected to be activated tomorrow night. NBA playoff action tonight. Game 1s, Celtics and Knicks, 4 p.m. tip-off time in Boston. And then the nightcap, 6:30 p.m., Thunder and Nuggets, game 1 there. Time is money, and there's no good time for your vehicle to break down. Keep your car and your schedule running smoothly with the West Automotive Group. The highest quality of customer service and vehicle repair. Visit westautomotivegroup.com to book your appointment today.
All right, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Again, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Willie Nelson with Bob Dylan May 15th. That's coming up in, just over a week. It's Cinco de Mayo, by the way.
Oh!
Happy Cinco de Mayo, Jim. It is Cinco de Mayo today. We're 10 days out from this Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan concert. North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, Cinco de Mayo in New York, where it's raining at this hour.
I would ask you, do you celebrate Cinco de Mayo with Mexican food or tacos or
I would think so.
Tequila? Or
Yeah, I do. All those. I haven't as of yet, but maybe later.
No,
Are you going to be selling? Yeah, maybe. I could get Mexican food from Roberto's.
True.
Del Mar.
True. What do you
down
get?
the road.
Just a veggie burrito? You get a veggie burrito.
What do you think I get?
Veggie burrito.
That's right. Cheese quesadilla.
Cheese quesadilla.
Chips.
Oh,
You
wow.
like chips?
Chips.
Salsa.
Oh, wow.
Guac.
Guacamole?
What do you get?
Well, I am probably going to make some carne asada tacos tonight with some also chicken fajitas.
Wow.
And some Spanish rice, a little bit of guacamole, got some corn salsa already.
Oh my
And,
gosh, this sounds amazing.
I might have some pico de gallo as well.
Are you going to have drinks?
No.
No drinks.
No drinks. No.
But everything. Are you going to have any signage for it?
No, I won't have signage.
No neon Cinco de Mayo. So you didn't get a.
No.
All right.
Just the food.
And Aaron's back from Palm Springs.
Aaron just got back from Palm Springs. You were in Palm Springs this weekend too.
Last 2 nights. Beautiful.
You hanging out with my wife?
Yeah. Where were you? We were hanging out. It was me and Kristen and Aaron.
It must be nice.
It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
You missed a good time.
I did. No, this weekend I definitely lived the bachelor life. That's for sure.
Dude, you were looking forward to it. You were really looking forward to it.
Well, I was only looking forward to it because I wanted to go see the new Thunderbolts movie.
Okay.
And I went to see that on Saturday by myself. Totally loved it. People are like, "Oh, why do you go to movies by yourself?" It's like, me and Brent goes to movies by himself. I go to movies by myself. It's like the way to do it. I love doing that. And I went to the lot, got some chicken fingers, some truffle fries. How you doing?
Dude, I know you were living the good life.
Yeah.
You both saw it. Was it a highly reviewed film? Did you both like it?
I really liked it. I didn't think it was the greatest movie ever, but I thought it was really good. What'd you think, Brent?
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't buy into the whole best since Endgame nonsense that some of the critics have been saying, but no, it was good.
It was really good. It set up everything for the next movie, and it set things up for the future of the MCU. So I liked it a lot.
Well, the future of the MCU is on a lot of people's minds. So is the future of the NBA postseason.
Oh, really?
Where you're down to 8 teams. We had game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals yesterday between the Pacers and the Cavs. The Pacers an upset win in Cleveland. And how about these game 7s? First of all, I thought the Clippers were going to show up, and they just didn't in game 7 against the Nuggets. It was a bad, really uncontested game, certainly in the second half. And I give the Warriors, and I know you did, Jim, because you're a Warriors fan, give them credit to lose games 5 and 6 and to bounce back on the road in the manner in which they won. I don't think they trailed. They scored the first 4 or 5 points, and they kept the Rockets at arm's length basically the entire game. They win game 7. They're on for Minneapolis to take on the T-Wolves. Should be a good series, but the Warriors, I don't think a ton of people gave them a great shot after losing games 5 and 6, but they bounced back and win convincingly last night in Houston.
All right, let's start with the Clippers. That was embarrassing.
It wasn't great. Game 7s can be tough. Not for the Warriors.
It can be tough. They're always tough. Game 7s are always.
Game 7 on the road can be tough.
Oh, they are extremely difficult. But to just not even show up is
they led after 1.
Oh, great.
Somehow.
And then they were down by 30.
Yep.
So they gave up. They looked awful. and, led by the continued narrative that James Harden in important games in the postseason just completely disappears.
Into a shell. Yeah, this is not Kawhi, by the way. Because Kawhi was the only one that did anything.
He was the only one that did anything, but at the same time, Kawhi is getting shielded a little bit here, probably a lot of it by James Harden. Kawhi's the best player on the team. Heaviest head that wears a crown. And they didn't show up in that game.
Yeah. I'm just individually, when you score 22 points on 7 of 13, 2 of 4 from 3 in 33 minutes, I'm going to be like, well, you're the reason why. And now maybe he's got to shoot the ball more. Maybe he's got to score more. But if you lose by 30, it's going to be a lot more than just one player.
Yeah, exactly. It's a team-wide thing, but he scored 22 points in a blowout loss in Game 7. Guess what? Steph Curry scored 22 points yesterday in a Game 7, and his team won.
True.
So,
and didn't do anything in the first half, right?
But he was impactful in so many different ways other than scoring the basketball. So stats are stats, but you got to watch the game to see how impactful a player is. And a lot of times it doesn't show up on the box score. And, what the Clippers did on Saturday was just flat out embarrassing. I think from a team perspective it was, and I watched both these games. I didn't think, again, I'm with you on, I think James Harden's going to get more of the criticism. And watching that game, I don't know. I guess Kawhi, if you just take over the game and shoot the ball 30 times, it's not his game. It really isn't. The ball's in the hands of James Harden a lot more than Kawhi Leonard, and it was in that game. And I don't know if Kawhi would have scored 40 in that game, they'd probably still lose. And the thing with James Harden is he'll make the Hall of Fame one day, right?
Everyone makes the Hall of Fame.
Right. He'll be a Hall of Famer, but the narrative on his career is always comes up short in the big moments.
Yeah, that's fair.
He will never in his entire career ever win anything because James Harden is not that player.
Yeah.
He always shrinks. He always comes up short, and he always, I guess, chokes. Can you say chokes?
Yeah. Again, it depends how you I think to some extent it's worse when you have a 6-point lead with 2 minutes to play and then you lose, and it's because of that player. They were just never in this game, which is probably worse.
But never shows up.
It was a choke.
He just never shows up in the big moments.
Show up in this game. I
think that's a better way to describe it. Not chokes, because you're right. If choking would imply
they lose his fourth quarter leads, or they blow 3-1 series leads a lot,
or he's at the line to win the game and he misses both free throws, whatever the case may be.
I think it's impressive. He's actually as good as he is, as old as he is. I'm like, what? Again, he's a regular season compiler. His numbers, his assist numbers are crazy. Mm-hmm. But then, you're right. I think he gets a lot of the blame.
He never shows up, and that will be the MO. And on his career will be put up a bunch of stats, won a bunch of MVP award, right? Rockets, right? Never showed up.
Yep.
Never showed up. He just always failed in the big moment. So that was Saturday night. And then Sunday night, never in doubt, John.
So Jim texted me before the game, Brent, saying, I said, big game coming up. He's like, Warriors are going to lose by 40. That's the exact thing he said.
Did I say 40 or 50?
You said 40.
Okay.
Let me find it.
I thought I said maybe more than that.
A lot of texts I don't want to read. I said, Houston should lose based on these uniforms, and they were atrocious. You can't wear that in Game 7.
Yeah,
H-Town. My wife thought I said H-Gown.
Bad.
You then wrote back, about Houston, they're going to win by 40, dude, LOL. Okay. I said, nah, Warriors look motivated. When it was 4-0 or 2-0, and they did. Yeah. Their defense was awesome. I think they won the game on the defensive end. Nothing in transition.
Nope. Really
good defense. Steph as a distributor initially, his passing, and then inevitably he hits threes. And that was hard to do, to lead wire to wire on the road in Game 7. Houston make a run. They pulled within 4 a couple times in the second half. Every single time Golden State would answer.
And as Shaq says, you can't win without the others.
Right.
And that was a legacy Buddy Hield game. Buddy Hield in Game 7, 33 points, 9 threes, ties a record in NBA history for most threes in a Game 7 by a player.
He hit 9 or he hit 7?
He hit 9.
Wow, it was 6 of 7 in the first half.
Right, and he hit 3 in the
That's amazing.
fourth quarter.
That's amazing.
One garbage time one or whatnot.
That's amazing.
But it was just an all-time performance from Buddy Hield.
It was.
And the fact that the Warriors had, I think, an 11 or 12-point lead going into halftime with Steph offensively doing nothing. That's
how you knew it was a good sign.
Bad sign for the Rockets.
Right.
Good sign for the Warriors, because Steph was not going to stay quiet. Scored 14 in the fourth. He had a couple dagger threes. He played a beautiful game all around. Didn't score much, but with Buddy Hield going for 33, and
you got Jimmy Butler. I mean, they got weapons, obviously, and their defense.
Yeah.
I thought their defense was unbelievable.
I'm just glad because I just knew that if they lost that game, that 3-1 narrative would just be like, oh my gosh, it's like, and then somehow it would tie back to LeBron's legacy, which it did actually this morning on First Take when they were talking about this series, and they're mentioning LeBron. They said Steph Curry had stats in this series like LeBron has had in his past. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what does this have to do with LeBron?
Saying that he led his team in every offensive category.
Yeah, not this past week.
Well, here's a little stat for you, Wendy. Steph Curry has more playoff wins in this series than LeBron has in the last 3 years combined.
Is that right?
Yeah. So just
listen,
put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Listen, this will be a good series. Warriors T-Wolves should be a very good series. There's no reason for it to not. Warriors took 3 out of 4 in the regular season. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're going to play on a day's rest, but they just did that in Houston.
Yeah, dude.
So you never know.
They're a 7.5 point dog in game one.
But still, it's a long series. Seriously.
I know.
So even if they don't win game 1, they could steal back home court by winning game 2.
You know who is pumping their fists right now? That Golden State won game 7, besides me?
The NBA.
Yes.
Adam
all
Silver. Of their media partners and the National Basketball Association.
Steph versus Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, it's better than Houston's a bunch of defenders.
They're a bunch of young, athletic guys that can't shoot the basketball. And then Fred VanVleet. And then Dylan Brooks, who everyone hates. Literally, everyone hates Dylan Brooks.
Do they have both of the brothers?
No.
They just have
Amen Thompson.
Yeah.
And then the other Thompson brother, I don't know what team he's on. But
he's a very good player, Thompson for Houston, but he's also very young.
Yeah, he's 22, 23.
But he's a very good player.
He's very good. Just can't shoot.
Good. They were good, but not good enough. All right, on the other side, we'll get to Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. The wrap is coming up. Updates from Yankee Stadium, where the scheduled first pitch time has now been announced. So we'll let you know when the first pitch will be between the Yankees and the Padres on the other side. Stay with us, Jon and Jim. All right, AM Radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now to keep AM radio in cars standard message and data rates apply. We will get to Is That Good, the best and worst of the sports weekend in a moment. But the update from Yankee Stadium, Jim.
Yeah, what's the update? How long are we going to wait?
Is that the tarp is off the field and first pitch time is 4:30 Pacific, which is only a 22-minute delay. It was 4:08.
So not a 6:01 start time?
No, we were hoping for 6 p.m. so you could continue to listen to Jon and Jim. Now you can tune in. We're with you until first pitch. This is still over 45 minutes away, but they're saying 4:30 Pacific, first pitch from Yankee Stadium, tarp off the field.
Okay, so not that bad. They just need time to get the field ready is basically what they're saying.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
No.
7:30 Eastern. Now, will they play all 9 innings? Will the tarp go back in the field? Will it be raining throughout the game?
That would annoy the hell out of me, is if they start the game and then like 30 minutes later, tarp's back on the field. Like, are we serious right now?
Worst. Yeah, that's the worst.
Like, come on. You guys need to do a better job looking at the weather.
They got a window, though.
Oh, give me a window.
I was looking at it. There looks like there's a window. So first pitch coming up in less than 1 hour from Yankee Stadium. We'll get to the wrap on the other side in the 4 o'clock hour. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th in 10 days at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. But right now, let's get to this.
We already talked about it, but Buddy Hield, 33 points in Game 7, tying the most threes made in a Game 7 with 9. Is that good? I was like, wait, what? I mean, dude hit a half-court shot. I was like, what is happening right now?
He was unbelievable. He really was. 6 of 7 in the first half from 3. I mean, give me a break. He was incredible.
12 of 15 overall from the game.
He was unbelievable. All right, so I'll give you one related to the Padres that we've also talked about. They're 21-6 this year when Luis Ariz plays. 21-6. Is that good?
It is good!
It's very good.
He's like the Buddy Hield of the Padres. Said no one ever.
Nobody said that. I'll stay with the Warriors because, of course, I will stay with the Warriors.
Do it.
Listen to this. Steph Curry is one of just 7 players to win 3 Game 7s on the road, and he is the only player in NBA history to have 20-plus points in all of those games. Is that good?
You know why LeBron's never done that if he hasn't? Because he's the only one to do that. It's because LeBron doesn't play road Game 7s.
Right.
He's always a higher seed.
Right, because the team gets eliminated before Game 7.
That's the thing. Steph is always playing as like a road team. LeBron's always playing as the home team.
Oh.
Yeah. How many road Game 7s does LeBron have?
Well, he's got the one in 2016 that I don't want to talk about.
You would probably know. I wonder how many road Game 7s he has played in his career.
Good question.
Jordan had no Game 7s.
Yeah, because Jordan just won all the time.
Jordan never did that.
Right.
Take that, Michael.
Yeah, Jordan just won all the time.
You sucked.
Well, Steph's last Game 7 on the road was 2 years ago against the Kings, where he dropped 50. And then this Game 7, didn't obviously put up the
but maybe do a better job by winning in less games.
Yeah,
like
that'd be nice.
Legends like MJ and LeBron.
Yeah, it'd been nice if they won in Game 6 instead of Game 7.
Exactly.
They
could have done that at home, but they lost Game 6. I'm kidding.
It's downplay the Game 7.
I'm kidding. The Winnipeg Jets, dude. Everyone literally talking about this. They were down 3-1 with under 2 minutes to play at home. Nobody had left because what else is going on in Winnipeg?
And hockey is, you just don't leave.
They love, I mean, it's Winnipeg.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, they love it. So they score to make it 3-2 with under 2. Then they score with 1.6 seconds left in Game 7 to force overtime. Then they win in the second overtime over the St. Louis Blues. Is that good?
It is good!
Have you ever been to Winnipeg?
No, have you?
No.
Okay.
Do you know where it is? I looked it up last night, like where it is. Do you know what country it's in?
Canada.
That's a pretty good job. Do you know where, like roughly in Canada, like left, middle, right, up, down.
If I'm looking at a map,
Yeah, like you know where like Seattle is, you know where New York City is. Do you think it's
I know
like
where Toronto
far
is
north? Do you think it's far south? Do you think it's over Seattle? Do you think it's over New York? Do you think it's in the middle?
I think it's over Seattle.
No.
Is it the middle?
It's right in the middle, dude. It's over North Dakota. Ugh. Look at this thing. I'm going to show you on a map. Seriously, you're going to be fascinated. Look how cold this place is.
Do you think?
Look at where this place is.
Oh, what?
It's that high above
the border.
North Dakota. It's like, I don't know how many miles that is.
Do you think people from Winnipeg are like, let's go to North Dakota today? Eh?
Honestly, maybe. Or maybe people in North Dakota are like, let's go to Winnipeg today.
Probably.
Anyway, Jets won.
Crazy ending to that game.
Right.
When you score with a second left to send that thing to overtime in Game 7.
A second.
What? That was incredible.
What does Aaron Rodgers have to say about that Jets win?
How does it affect LeBron's legacy?
I don't know.
I'm sure that they'll,
weave that into ESPN. Yeah.
Somehow.
All right, what else?
They've done it before with hockey stuff. Finally, Agent Garcia Marquez on our show last week, he called it. He said that SDFC was ready for a breakout game, and they absolutely broke out on Saturday night. 5 goals against FC Dallas. Chucky Lozano put together a fantastic performance, 2 goals and an assist. 5-0 win over FC Dallas, ending their 3-game losing streak. Brent, is that good?
You look at the MLS standings right now, and with the win, SDFC is tied for 4th in the West with 17 overall points, 5 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. They'll be in St. Louis this weekend, a match you can hear on Saturday right here on San Diego Sports 760. My final is that good. Is that it's supposed to rain every day this week in New York City. Is that good?
No, it's no good. Are you kidding
6
me?
straight days of rain in New York, but they're expected to play tonight, Padres and Yankees.
As long as we don't get in our situation like we did in Atlanta.
But I freaked out.
You wanted to go fight somebody.
I'm going to Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
I have a weapon.
I'm going to fight the person
hands.
that decides these rain delays at the ballpark.
That was like a doubleheader day. But you're right. Listen, there's some parts of this that are uncontrollable. Yeah, you got to start a game, and if it rains in 2 hours, it rains in 2 hours. You can't not start because it's supposed to rain in 2 hours. To your earlier point, you can't start a game and then have it start downpouring in 12 minutes. That's the worst. When Nick Pavetta's out there, he throws 9 pitches, and they're like, tarp on the field. It's pouring.
That would be...
Stop the game for 2 hours.
I would get very mad at that.
The update from AJ Cassavell, the tarp is now fully off the field. The Yankees do still say first pitch time will be 4:30 Pacific. A game that's on Padres.tv, but also I think on MLB Network tonight. I believe it's on MLB Network.
Okay.
Is that blacked out locally when they do that?
MLB Network, yeah.
Yeah, they black that out.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you have Padres.tv.
I know, but what if I don't have Padres.tv? I can't watch on MLB Network.
No, you got to buy Padres.tv.
Well, I did.
Then you're good.
I'm fine. Tomorrow it's on national TV somewhere.
Then
TNT
everybody can watch it.
TBS maybe.
TBS.
Is Don doing the game?
Ooh, that's a great question. Just switching booths.
Yeah, because Mud will be off.
That's a really good point. Mud would be off if it's the national game. Yeah. Right.
And Don does the TBS broadcast.
Maybe he is. And these are all night games, by the way, because both teams are off Thursday. So both teams will travel after this, but all 3 of the games are night. No Wednesday
Just
day
perfect
game.
for this show.
Yeah, you're right. I'd prefer the 10 a.m. as opposed to the 4:05.
Yeah, I love the
PM.
10 a.m. East Coast.
Well, I love that because then we get to react to it all afternoon long. Those are the
beautiful.
best.
It's perfect.
Of course, the rules are always different with the Yankees. The Padres never play Wednesday night games, even if both teams have a day off the next day, right?
Yep.
Maybe that's by choice.
Probably.
Maybe they want the additional time.
But still.
All right, on the other side, we will get to the wrap. Plus, coming up in the 4:00 hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival. This is with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. This is May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets are available right now at Ticketmaster.com. Again, a pair of tickets. Do not call now. We'll tell you when and how to win those tickets. 2 free tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. Padres first pitch coming up at 4:30. If you missed Kevin Acee earlier, we'll bring back a portion of that conversation around 4:15 or so. But we'll get to the wrap on the other side to kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim. That's next. All right, so hey guys, it is Jon and Jim for our friends at the all-new Humboldt Casino and Resort, the Players Place, where tonight you've got a chance to win big. How about a Ford Mustang Mach-E? One lucky winner each week will also be driving home the brand new Ford Mustang Mach-E. That's every Monday this month in May. You can earn entries all month long just by playing, and on Tuesdays, you can earn 2 times entries.
And John, this Sunday is Mother's Day. Head to Humboldt Casino for Mother's Day brunch at Prime Cut from 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Show mom how much she means to you with a decadent brunch featuring lobster tails, hand-carved prime rib, and more. Make her day extra special with a meal that she'll love.
And before Mother's Day, make sure to watch UFC 315.
Yes.
That would be Saturday night, 7 p.m., UFC 315. Catch it at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, Loft 94, or the Poker Room. All that this week at the all-new Humboldt Casino and Resort, the Players Place.
This update is brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Padres and Yankees, they're in a rain delay right now, but they're scheduled to start at 4:30 Pacific. Jackson Merrill's back with the club. He'll be activated tomorrow. Today is a rest day for Jackson Merrill. And NBA playoff action tonight, a couple game ones happening. Second round underway, Celtics and Knicks, 4 p.m. tip-off time in Boston, then Thunder and Nuggets tip-off time at 6:30 Pacific. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal, like the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with the JBC 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink, because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. For the best deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Looks like we'll have to wait one additional day to see Jackson Merrill. If he doesn't play tonight and the Padres play Jim, it's a 24th consecutive game that Jackson Merrill has missed. The good news is they're 22-11.
It's a little weird, but I get it. I think it's weather. I think it's also travel. If the whole time that the plan was for him to travel today, it's probably smart. You just want to rest.
Time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3, Jon and Jim. We're about 30 minutes out. Padres-Yankees, game 1 of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. If you missed Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, will share some of that conversation with you at 4:15 before tonight's game. Then later this hour, you've got a chance to win a pair of tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Nick Pivetta, Carlos Rodon, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Aaron Judge, Trent Grisham, Jim. Trent Grisham, one of the stars for the Yankees, who's gotten off to a good start. By the way, look at this tarp. They're still slowly rolling this thing up at Yankee Stadium about 25 minutes before first pitch. So not officially fully off the field as of yet, but they're still saying 4:30 is the first pitch time. All right, let's get to the wrap.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
The Padres are number 2 in this week's CBS Sports Power Rankings. Is that too high, too low, or just right?
I'm outraged. I'm trying to create fake outrage here. I don't really care. Power rankings are so irrelevant. If anybody that you listen to is talking about power rankings and they're being serious about it, don't listen to them because they mean nothing.
In my daily power rankings for Major League Baseball that I put out every single day, I also have the Padres. No, who cares? It doesn't mean anything. They could be number 1 for 6 consecutive months, but if they lose in a best-of-5 series to the Atlanta Braves in the NLDS, does anyone care?
No.
If they were number 1 for 6 consecutive months. If you're wondering...
we were number 1 for 6 months. Put the banner up.
Yeah, exactly. If you're wondering who's number 1,
Dodgers.
Look no further than the LA Dodgers. Who are a half game better than the Padres, and the Padres are number 2. And CBS said this, you know what great teams do? They rebound from losing streaks by going 5-0. How about that take? That's what the Padres have done. They've won 5 straight.
I like that take.
Number 2 in baseball per CBS Sports. Next question.
Which series is going to be shorter, Thunder's Nuggets or Knicks Celtics?
Shorter. So basically
finishing less games.
Yes, I know that. I'll just go with Thunder Nuggets because I'm going to have to see the Thunder face some adversity here at some point, or if they don't, then they might just roll all the way to the finals because they had their way with Memphis. Now, the Cavs did the same exact thing in a bigger fashion, like margin of victory over the Miami Heat, and then they got beaten in the first game of their series here against the Pacers. But I also think the Pacers are a really good team.
Yep.
Nuggets have Jokic. We'll see how that matchup goes. But I'm going to have to see it to believe it. And so I'll take the Thunder until I see them face adversity.
So maybe I kind of agree with you. I think Thunder Nuggets is a 5-game series, and I feel like Knicks Celtics is a 6-game series.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not. We'll
find out.
Yeah, Thunder swept through their opening series, and now Knicks Celtics. I mean, some people still believe the Celtics might be the best team in the NBA. We'll see how they play for the 7-game series against the Knicks. All right, next question.
Did the Ravens make the right decision to cut Justin Tucker?
Yeah, it's time. I mean, he was awful last year. And also he's dealing with, those personal matters too. So it's like the last thing you want is to have a kicker that's not making kicks and then also a distraction off the field. The saying that Bill Walsh always had and what he always did, it's better to get rid of a player too soon rather than too late. In this case, probably the right timing for Justin Tucker to be released and for the Ravens to move on.
If you missed the story, he's been accused of misconduct by 16 massage therapists.
Yeah.
8 high-end spas and wellness centers in the Baltimore area. All of this alleged misconduct reportedly occurred between 2012 and 2016. Tucker's first 5 seasons in the NFL. The Ravens saying that this was a football decision and a tough decision to release Justin Tucker. Next question.
Will Aaron Judge hit 400 this season?
I thought you were going to say, will he hit 400 home runs this season?
This month.
Both are impossible.
No, he'll not hit 400.
He won't touch it, right?
No. He'll probably hit like 360.
Which is pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
But again, that's not touching 400.
No, not even close.
It's just impossible. To hit 423 for a month is amazing.
Yeah. Tony was the closest to do it in the modern era. And who knows if he would have even done it because the season got canceled.
Right.
So, like, it's just so hard to do that. He's had an incredible first month. You can have months where you hit 400.
Yep.
But to have 6 consecutive months where you hit 400,
that's ridiculous, right?
That is not happening.
Yeah, Tony's 394 season was in 110 games, which is amazing.
Right.
394 for
and
110.
even then, he's not hitting 400. Tony's not hitting 400.
Yeah.
394 is not
So
400.
he would have had to hit, let's say, for the next 50 games,
Like
even
410.
over 400, at 406. Or, yeah, you're right, 408 to finish at 400. I mean, I think it's only gotten harder, truthfully, because of specialized relievers and because of velocity. Every reliever, every one of them throws 98. There's guys coming in 6th innings throwing 99. That never happened 35 years ago.
No.
And you also didn't have 26-man rosters where you had all these relievers, 8 relievers in bullpens. I just think it's impossible. And I even think it's harder for power hitters. Like Aaron Judge isn't the guy that's like going to fall into 35 infield hits.
No, he's not the fastest in the world.
No.
He's not.
Everything is just over the wall.
Yeah, or just like doubles.
Yeah.
Like off the wall.
Now, to your point, I mean, what's the best season of Luis Ariz? He had 350 in a year, didn't he?
A couple years ago, yeah.
Which is unbelievable, which means he's had months where he's hit 400, Luis Ariz. If he hit, he had 354 in 2023 with the Marlins. That's amazing. And he did that in 147 games and got MVP votes for doing that in 2023. Where would you put 400 on the accolades in today's sport? Like, how almost impossible is it today? And what else would you compare it to across major sports? It's almost like you can't even reach it.
I would say but a couple of years ago, you might say the rushing record, but even then, it's gotten close.
Are you saying single season rushing record or all time?
Single season.
Right, because was Barkley, if not for sitting the last game, would have done it, right? Or was within 100 yards.
But now with 17-game season,
it's changed.
It's going to eventually. Someone's going to break it.
Yeah. What's the touchdown single season record? But again, that's different. Hitting 400 isn't really even comparing yourself to someone else.
We're talking about just season record.
I guess so. Like something that's been done.
73
but
home
like,
runs.
How could this ever be done? Yeah, good.
That's not happening.
Good point. Although Judge is, he's done pretty well.
Yeah, but even Judge with how great he has been, it took him to like the last week to get 63.
True. So you're saying 73 is that much? Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
Yeah, hitting 400, don't think that will ever happen.
Either do I.
Yeah, complete games in a season, that'll never happen again.
They're like 25 wins. I mean, there's 30 game winners.
Yeah, but just complete games, like the most complete games in a season, that will never happen ever.
Baseball, a lot of the numbers are basically impossible to replicate.
Yes.
I mean, I would say like Will to 100-point game. I mean, is that happening?
No.
I mean, we've seen 81 in our life with Kobe. Has anyone done better than that? No.
I know Booker did. I think he did like high 70s, 80s, but he didn't get 81. I think he got like 70 something.
Right.
But even then, Kobe that game had to go in overtime.
Got you. Yep. Yeah, I'm just looking at the most points.
I think it did, right?
Did it?
I know the game was close.
Lucas scored 73 in a game in 2024, which is the most points since Kobe scored 81. Where was the game you were referencing? Devin Booker scored 70 in 2017.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, which is a lot of points.
It's a good amount, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, 400 is just, I don't know. It's just impossible to even envision anymore.
Here's a good one in our chat. The 56-game hitting streak. That'll never happen.
Never, dude.
Never.
How about 50-50? I mean, the steals record is a joke, right? What's Ricky Henderson's steals record?
Oh, in a season?
Yeah, it's a joke, right? 130.
Yeah, but now with the bases being bigger,
no one touch that.
I mean, if
thing,
Otani's
right?
getting 50 steals,
dude, come on.
All you gotta do is you're super fast, and you're gonna get 100 steals in a season.
Henderson had 130.
Okay,
I mean,
that's a lot.
When's the last player to have 100 to steal 100 bases?
I don't know.
Did Billy Hamilton do it?
I don't know.
See, these things kind of fascinate me.
I know. I like to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love that path. Like, I don't even know how you can compare it to like other sports.
Gretzky's all-time points in a single season.
Was it a lot?
I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah. I'm just looking real quick. Single season stolen base records. Yeah, Billy Hamilton. No, that's a different Billy Hamilton in 1889.
Oh, that guy? He was fun to watch.
Yeah, he was really good at 1889. But anyway, there's certain records. Wilt's 100, Ricky Henderson 130, hitting 400.
56
You're right.
Game hitting streak.
56. 56 game hitting streak. It's amazing when someone gets to 20 right now.
I know. And a lot of times, which I don't like about the hitting streak, not the 56 game one, is that baseball, for some reason, like say you have a 15 game hitting streak to end the season, and then you start the next season with a 20 game hitting streak.
Doesn't count.
And sometimes, and they're like, oh, he's on a 35 game hitting streak. They're like, no, he's not.
Wait, does that count or does that not count? You saying?
I think that does. Dating back to like.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Because I remember, who was it? Maybe like Juan Pierre or I forget who it was.
He got up to like 40 games, didn't he?
And it was dating back to like the previous season.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Like, no.
We don't do that. What's the longest in Padres history? Is it Santiago? Something in the 30s? Like Tony Gwynn doesn't even have the longest hitting streak in Padres franchise history. Isn't that right? That's all you need to know about how hard it is.
It's so
like,
hard.
what is Tony Gwynn's longest career hit streak? For arguably the second greatest hitter ever and the best hitter of modern baseball.
They do carry over.
It does carry.
Yeah,
but we're
carries
saying, I
over.
know, we kind of think it's a little
stupid.
bogus.
It's like a combined no hitter.
What's his longest hitting streak? I like have to know. I'm sure someone has it in the chat.
Hold on. Stand by. Yeah, it's going to take me a little while to find
All
this.
right, Kevin Acey, if you missed it from earlier, our conversation with them, Padres and Yankees will play game one of their series coming up at 4:30. We'll have an answer for you. Tony Gwynn's longest career hitting streak was how many games? That's next, Jon and Jim. All right, we're going to hear from Kevin Acee, Jim, in a moment, but this is right from the Padres. Their PR site on Medium, like the blog site, about longest hitting streaks in franchise history.
Okay.
Right? So we were just talking about what's Tony Gwynn's longest, a guy that hit 394 in a season, arguably the best hitter of modern baseball. Benito's got the longest in Padres history.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many games?
Tell me.
Wrong. 34.
Okay.
The second longest, John Flaherty, 27, 1996. The third longest hitting streak in Padres franchise history is Tony Gwynn in 1983, 25 games. His career long was 25 games, and that was done when he was a very young player in 1983. All right, let's hear from Kevin Acee. Again, he's in New York. Padres are getting set for the Yankees, and that game's going to get underway in about 10 or 15 minutes. And we talked in this conversation about the brilliance of Fernando Tatis Jr., specifically Saturday, everything that he did, including not his straight steal of home, but he was the difference there in that ninth inning. Here's Kevin Acee.
It sure is. I mean, I get pretty locked into, hey, one game, there's a whole long season. And then there are times during a season you have to stop and go, no, man, I just saw something incredible. And he took the team and he lifted them and he went 360 feet essentially on his own. He hit a single. He had no right to be anywhere but first base based on the fact that he was the only guy who got a hit. And no one else got the ball out of the infield, and Manny struck out, and he made it happen. And I don't know that you want me to go through why it was so incredible. I'm sure you guys have talked about it, but just the steal had its own, intricacies, and then the run home on the barely a wild pitch had its own intricacies. And look, I think there's a lot of players who would do what Fernando Tatis Jr. does if they could, but there are a handful that have his awareness and his skill.
He's just a special player, and we know that's the case when he's healthy and on the field, and even coming off that hit by pitch makes a huge difference, obviously, on Saturday. Kevin Acee is with us right now from New York. So we heard from Mike Schill briefly earlier. The plan right now for Jackson Merrill is one additional day. He had a successful rehab, apparently in AA, and they'll wait until tomorrow, right?
Yeah, and I saw him. He looks good. And I haven't pinned down when was it they decided this. People have been saying he was going to be back and activated. But anyway, he's here. He'll play tomorrow. Maybe it's a good deal. I started to wonder this morning, like now look, he's healthy. So, it's not like you're going to baby him, but also this field's going to be a mess. So I was starting to wonder, what's the story? They've known there was going to be rain here for a long time. They could have sent him out a day early to San Antonio, got him here for the start of this series. And I just think the bottom line is that, this whole thing, they are, not rushing, and they're being very careful. And, it's worked out for them. They got to play the Rockies 3 times and the Pirates 3 times. And they're 11 games over. Is it 11 or 12 now? 11 games over 500. And, it's hard to argue with how they've handled this whole thing.
And numbers are the numbers. They're 21-6 with Luis Arraez in the lineup, 1-5 without him. Pretty important player of this team, it seems like, Kevin.
Yeah. And it's funny because obviously it's a much smaller size, right? They were 8-2 with Jackson.
Right.
And, look, they played the Tigers. They played the Astros. There's a 2 really good teams. It was the Astros and the Rays. So there goes that argument since the Rays aren't very good. They did have good pitching. Look, Arraez changes the excitement, the energy level, just like Merrill does, just like Tatis does. But he's there hitting between Tatis and Machado, and so that's going to change how pitchers are attacking guys. Arraez is just huge. I have my growth chart my flow chart on how I've gone and feeling about Arraez is I was okay, yeah, I can see why, the guy's not valued at a level that his batting average might suggest he was, or his batting average would have had him valued back in the 90s or the 80s. But after watching it with this team for what is now a full calendar year, parts of 2 seasons, I think this guy's incredibly valuable for all that he brings to a team, and especially if the rest of the lineup has good players, I think a rise in there lifts everybody. I just think, I don't know that he's worth $17, $18 million a year, but I just couldn't agree with you more that, like, Luis rise is huge to this team.
Kevin Acey's our Padres insider. He's in the Bronx. Yankees Padres hopefully getting underway at some point later on this afternoon Pacific time. You've seen the Aaron Judge numbers. I'm sure the Padres have as well. I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to them. He's hitting .423. He's getting got base over half
Pretty
the
good.
time.
Yeah.
As good as the Padres pitching has been, do you expect there to be some type of like Aaron Judge rules over the next 3 games?
Yes. I mean, and look, I wrote about it over the weekend that they've done a remarkable job. Kyle Tucker, O'Neal Cruz, Marcelo Zuna. And so what you do is you identify that guy. For the Pirates, there's really only one guy, and that's O'Neal Cruz. But you identify that guy who's not going to beat you, right? You got to plan to pitch everyone, but that guy in particular, who is not going to beat us? And then you have to have the game lineup. You have to pitch well to everybody else, so that, you know, you have an open base or what have you, the circumstance is right to quote unquote pitch around the guy, right? And they have done just a remarkable job of that. But then Aaron Judge is a whole nother matter, right? And that's another pretty good lineup around him, or at least they're finding ways to be good around him, even without Juan Soto and some other injuries. And so, yeah, this is going to be their biggest challenge yet. And Michael King kind of elucidated it today when he was talking about the fact that Aaron Judge, who, by the way, is like batting .420 with a 1,200 OPS or something. It's insane how he doesn't have any holes. Like O'Neal Cruz, you show him inside, you pitch it outside. Maybe he'll chase at it. He did yesterday a little bit. And you know, you got to give him his walks. And you do it. Well, Judges have no holes. Like King was talking about, pitching him outside. No, okay, well, no, pitch inside. No, can't do that. Like, this is going to be their biggest challenge.
Yeah, he's the best hitter in baseball right now. It's not even really close. Kevin, what's the plan going forward with Luis Campusano? Brought him up. He's been in the DH spot mostly. Well, what's the long-term, I guess, or maybe short-term plan that you know of with Luis Campusano?
Designated hitter. They like their catcher rotation. Could one of these guys get tired? But I don't think that's like in the plan that he's going to catch. That's not my understanding. They truly, truly believe in what these two guys, Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz, are doing with their pitchers. I think the proof is just take a look at the numbers. But you hear them talk about it, you hear the pitchers talk about it. I don't think there's any plans to introduce Luis Campusano into that. They have this run of 4 lefties in a span of 5 games. Bring him up, have him DH, see if he can grab onto that Yuli Gurriel role.
Kevin, what do you expect the corresponding move to be for Jackson Merrill tomorrow?
You know, haven't asked about it and haven't been able to figure it out myself, but like Oscar Gonzalez, I mean, he's the guy who came up for him. Right. And I think Tyler Wade's earned his way onto this team. Like, I just don't see a place for him for Oscar.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was wondering, do you think based on what Stephen Kolek did on, was it Saturday or Sunday? It was yesterday?
It was yesterday.
What Kolek did yesterday, is he automatically going to stick, or because of the off day on Thursday, could they again do some math here, option him, and then re-option up a Kyle Hart to potentially, could that potentially be the move or no?
You know, they say they're big on Kyle Hart, but just being that it would have to be so quick, I don't necessarily. I started to map it out, and maybe I'll ask about it in a couple of days or tomorrow or something like that. Like, it's a good question. I don't see them doing that because you could get away with it, but not really. Like, you're going to need that 5th starter pretty soon. Yep. So I don't see them making a move, but it is a good question and one that I do have in my notes to sort of see, you know, where they're going with that. But like Stephen Kolek, that was like he was pitching in spring training at the beginning. Like, the guy knows what he needs to do, and he did it yesterday. Now, he did it against the Pirates, but you know, and his next start being Colorado. So I don't think you're going to move up a guy. Hey, you know what? We're gonna have one of our good guys pitch in Colorado. I think that Stephen Kolek will get his next turn in Colorado.
We've talked a lot about Xander on this show. We've talked a lot about Xander with you, but in the last 5 days, Kevin, he's only 5 for 20. But me and John were saying, like, he's been very impactful in the last 5 games defensively. The RBIs at the right moments, the home run there, like. So, when you look at Xander's last 5 games, you might be like, oh, he's only 5 for 20, but it's the impact that he's showing. And that's something that, we haven't seen from him. And I'm sure that you were surprised, as like me and John were, when you might have looked at last year to see how many 3 RBI games he had, and he had 0. And this year he had 2 in the last 5 games. Like, he's doing the impactful things that we want to see from Xander in the last 5 days, right?
Yeah, and you know what you'd like to see if you're a Padres fan or you're someone who, roots for good players to play well, that even if Xander's not going to be the Xander Bogaerts of most of his time in Boston, 5 Silver Slugger, Xander Bogaerts, that he would be that guy enough to help the Padres, achieve their goals. And he's perfectly capable of doing that. I'm a big Xander guy. I am. I look at those numbers and I'm dumbfounded by the drop off. Okay. But there's no way around that it's been disappointing and that, he's discombobulated. But so I don't know what to say about where he's going, but you're 100% right. He's huge, absolutely huge. And he played some really good defense in Pittsburgh. And if he can be that guy, they've got enough on this team that can be enough. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. It would still be, you'd have to look at it and go 25 mil, huh? Yeah. But if Xander can be a guy who can be impactful, doesn't have to be 6 RBIs and 2-3 RBI games in the span of 5 games, but just an impactful player. They've got enough good players to be able to have that be important.
All right, that was Kevin AC earlier today, right here on Jon and Jim. On the other side, we're getting you ready for tonight. Padres and Yankees will get underway within the next 10 or 15 minutes. Plus, this hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan coming up in 10 days at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, so update is brought to you by eBay. Padres and Yankees, they are underway in New York. They had about a 30-minute rain delay there. Jackson Merrill is with the club. He's going to be activated off the IL tomorrow for the Padres. An NBA playoff action happening right now. Second round, Celtics and Knicks. Celtics leading the Knicks 23-22 with 1 minute left to go in the first quarter there of game one. And then Thunder Nuggets tips off at 6:30 in OKC, game one in that series. Swapping out your tires, there's nothing like it. With eBay, you find the feel you're looking for, from smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay, things people love.
All right, Padres Yankees underway in a very soggy New York. Like Jim just said, the 30-minute delay. Really good pitching matchup tonight. Nick Pivetta, Carlos Rodon. We haven't touched on this. They'll face two lefties this series if they play all three of these games. It hasn't been a kryptonite for the Padres, but they haven't been as good against left-handed pitching. We're not seeing the full Padres as of yet with Jackson Merrill. We expect him back tomorrow, but they do see a lefty here tonight, Jim, in Carlos Rodon.
And that's why the question of like, no Jose Iglesias, instead it's Tyler Wade.
Right.
And then you got Campy is your DH tonight. And they are a team that's built to tee off against right-handed pitching.
Yes.
Left-handed pitching is always going to be an adventure, just from like a roster construction standpoint, because Rise, Merrill, Cronenworth.
No, I agree with you.
Like they got Sheets. Like they got a lot of lefties in that lineup. So when a lefty's on the mound, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm just curious how exaggerated it is. We've talked about this. It's not as much as you'd actually think.
They're splits.
Yeah, they're splits against lefties and righties. But to your point, it feels as if like they've been better against right-handed starting pitching this year. I mean, they've just been good in general. They're 22-11, so I don't know what the numbers say about left-handed starting pitching, but in general, they've been good. And they are underway. We didn't know if they were going to play tonight. I mean, 90% chance of rain today in New York. It's been raining all day. But they are underway in New York.
It's like nobody there.
There's nobody there. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, those first couple of months when school's in session and you've got weather in the East, like you're going to run into this.
Like, no, we're not going to that game.
Dude, the Pittsburgh series was a joke. It's like Sunday afternoon.
It's like the team sucks.
In the lower level.
It's raining.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah.
Remember, the Yankees did say they weren't going to start on time, so maybe some people are like, well, let's wait and see if it even happens before we go there, so we don't go for nothing.
But you'd think that like the Yankees in general at home, if it's good weather, you're probably drawing 40-something thousand? They're like a top 2 or 3 draw, like Padres, Dodgers, Yankees. Mm-hmm. You're thinking, even though it's a Monday night, you're thinking there's probably 40,000 plus tickets sold for a game like this. But again, are you going out in this? Like, I'm not.
No.
I'm not going out in this. I'll watch on TV.
Yep. Unless I had like sweet tickets.
That'd be sweet. Then I'd be there.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know, like first row.
Yeah. I mean, if you spent like $1,000 for you and your buddies to be there, I mean, I bet there's a lot of San Diegans that made the trip. It's the Padres and the Yankees. It only happens every other year now, even with the universal schedule. I'm sure there's a ton of Padres fans at these games the next few days.
And it makes sense. Pittsburgh, great stadium.
Yep.
You're going to get good seats in Pittsburgh. You go to Pittsburgh and then you go to New York, go to Yankee Stadium, see Padres, Yankees. You're not going to Colorado because screw that. So you just come home on that Thursday and you're good.
Exactly. That's exactly what you do. All right. This hour, your chance to win that pair of tickets to see Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. This will be May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That's coming up later this hour. We'll tell you when to call for a chance to win those Willie Nelson with Bob Dylan tickets. We touched on this briefly earlier. SDFC getting back to the winning ways. They had not only been struggling, they had lost 3 straight, and they hadn't had a match like this. 5 goals is a huge number, obviously. They had a couple of 3-0 wins this year, but a 5-0 win over a team that had not lost on the road this year in FC Dallas. So it feels like fully back on track, Jim. 4th place in the West. Now at the 1/3 mark, 11 matches gone, 23 to play. They'll be in St. Louis this weekend. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760, but can't ask for more than a 5-0 win at home this past Saturday night.
That was a signature game from Chucky Lozano. And I think you could say that obviously was his best game so far in MLS. Best game so far with SDFC. The injury, I think, took him a little bit to get back into form, but Mikey Varas has said on our station, on the SDFC midweek live show, like they're going to need Chucky to play like a superstar. And that's what they got him for. They're paying a lot of money to play like a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He played like a superstar on Saturday night. 2 goals, an assist. He was everywhere. That was the game where you're like, Chucky has arrived. He is here. And he has now 3 goals in his last 2 matches. And he is heating up. And a hot Chucky Lozano is something that we have been waiting to see for SDFC. And they go on the road this weekend, but then they play, I believe, 4 straight home matches.
3 straight home matches.
3 straight home matches. You're right. Yeah, 3 straight.
Colorado on a Wednesday. They have the quick turnaround for the first time this year. They go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday for the first time in franchise history. So at St. Louis, home for Colorado.
Yeah.
Home for Kansas City, and then home for the LA Galaxy the following Saturday.
But the first thing I thought of with this game was, our conversation with Adrian Garcia, where he's like, his team's ready to break out. They broke out in a huge way.
Yeah, they really did, and it is encouraging. And again, we talked about, I think even Mikey Varas said it with us. He's like, we want to continue to pace the way we had paced to start the year. You look at the schedule and maybe quadrants of, hey, here's a fifth of the schedule. Here's the next 20% of the schedule. Here's the next 20%. And they're right where they need to be. I mean, they're 4th place in the West, so they're right where they need to be. I don't think that they need to really overcome the 3-game losing streak, truthfully. All right, so they lost 3 straight. Well, earlier this year, they'd won 2 or 3 in a row, and they just bounced back with a win. We said if they could get 10 points in 5 home matches, they'd be well on their way. Well, they lost that first home match. They bounced back with a win. 3 of their next 4 are at home. I think they're right where they need to be, and I think they've exceeded expectations, obviously. 11 matches in, 4th in the West for a team that a lot of people had picked last or second to last in the Western Conference. This has been a good start, and we'll see if they can continue it moving forward.
And the fun part about Saturday night was it wasn't just Chucky. Dreyer, Valakari, Olowski, all scoring goals. Just a complete dominant performance for 90 plus minutes, actually. And if they can parlay this 5-0 victory here into a nice little streak where they put together about 4 games here where you all pick up points in all these games and continue to build your resume here and keep moving up in the standings in the Western Conference, the 3-game losing streak will feel like it happened a long time ago if they can do that.
The St. Louis match that we saw earlier this year was the home debut for SDFC, and that's when St. Louis did everything in their power not to allow a goal. There was that scoreless draw, and that's where San Diego.
You're not scoring. We're not scoring either, but you're not scoring.
Exactly, and that's who San Diego's taking on Saturday. Again, that'll be on the road. You can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan on May 15th right here in San Diego. A great giveaway. We have a pair of free tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760. Call right now. First 2 callers will be contestants. We have 2 free tickets to see both Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan May 15th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Again, the number to call is 877-767-4760. Call right now if you want those 2 free tickets. 877-767-4760. That's next on Jon and Jim. All right, so are your monthly bills keeping you up at night? If you're worried about your finances during these crazy times, that makes sense. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer. If you're like most people, you've racked up a sizable amount on your credit cards, and the monthly payment is not making a dent in it. It's time to call Loan Pronto. If you own a home, you have a super easy way to get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash. Loan Pronto has lots of options for helping you tap into the equity in your home and get the cash you need to get back on solid footing. Most homeowners who do this end up wiping out all their credit card debt and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,000. Look, you didn't mean to end up here, but you don't have to keep stressing about money. Call Loan Pronto for fast debt relief now. Here's the number, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Again, loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org. All right, don't miss it Wednesday at 6 right here on San Diego Sports 760, SDFC Midweek Live. You're going to hear from head coach Mikey Varas as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information hosted by Darren Smith, SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. All right, Padres and Yankees underway. Got a little bit of an epic early battle here between Nick Pivetta and Aaron Judge, and it's a Aaron Judge walk. I think we both theorize you should be careful with Aaron Judge, although they kind of weren't necessarily there with Pivetta. He fouled off some pitches, and Aaron Judge is aboard for like the millionth time this year.
Thought one of those pitches was way gone.
I thought like three of them were going, like foul balls.
Yeah, I was like, that's a 500-foot home run.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's just that locked in right now where every single pitch, if you're not perfect, it's going to get hammered.
And I don't know who else is on this team, but like Ben Rice isn't Aaron Judge.
But
and Trent Grisham isn't Aaron Judge.
No. But this year, Trent Grisham has played really well. Paul Goldschmidt's second in the American League in batting average. He's the second best batting average in all of baseball. Cody Bellinger's on that team.
Yeah.
I don't think Cody Bellinger's having a great season. But overall, you have Judge in the middle of that lineup. You're going to be good.
You got a chance. They just ran into an out. They would have had second and third one out. Judge tried to score, and he was tagged out at home plate fairly easily for the second out in the inning. So the Yankees running into an out, maybe taking away a scoring opportunity in the bottom of the first inning. We will keep you updated on Padres and Yankees underway in the Bronx after a 30-minute delay. Who just dropped? Someone just dropped. We have Steve standing by for these Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan tickets. You need to call right now if you want 2 free tickets for 10 days from now. Willie Nelson with Bob Dylan, May 15th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Great giveaway. Call 877-767-4760 right now if you want to play trivia for a chance to win those 2 free tickets. Great giveaway. Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan right here in San Diego. Call right now, 877-767-4760.
And it looks like the phone lines have lit up, and we will soon get another contestant.
I love our new phones.
I do too. I just hope they work.
Right. That I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
They've worked pretty well over the last week, other than us hanging up on
Dave
Will
Fleming.
Fleming. Dave Fleming. Yeah.
Will's brother, Dave.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, news always fun, but it's always you gotta work out a little bit of kinks here and there.
And we're good to go. All right. Let's do it.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Josiah and we have Steve. Josiah, you called in first. So you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Taking Jim.
All right, thank you there, Josiah and Jim. That means Steve, you get Jon, okay? Steve. Oh, Steve.
The phones. Steve, you there? Are you on mute, Steve? Or do we want to get to this other call coming in?
I think he's there, but I just don't know if he's up.
All right, stand by, Josiah. We've got someone else calling for these tickets. And we will have a contestant for Josiah to play against momentarily.
Oh, new phones. They're always so fun.
I don't think it's really maybe it's the phones.
It's the phones. The phones.
It's never the customer.
No. Customer's always right sometimes.
I agree with that.
But like 99% of the time, I blame us.
Dude, I'll tell you what, when our new tech team came in here and they're like, what do you need? What do you want? I'm like,
everything?
What do you
I want all of it.
Why are you giving us things? What have we done? Have we earned this?
Did you want me to ask for everything? Because I will. I'll ask for the brand new camera. I'll ask for the brand new microphone. I'll ask for the brand new computer screen. I'll ask for the brand new computer. I'll ask for the brand new microphones. I want it all. I want all of it.
All right, so Josiah is standing by. Brent is on the phone right now with our second contestant. And we will put, that's why we call it train wreck radio.
Yes.
It typically is a train wreck.
Are we even allowed to have 2 calls on at once with these new phones? That's
a really good point.
That's my question.
Yeah, is it because can we have 2 calls at once? Brent says yes.
Okay.
Brent says yes. All right, we have Josiah, who's going to be with Jim. What's the name of our other contestant here?
Da.
Is it Da or D-A?
D-A? David? Da? Dan. Oh,
we have Dan.
Close. Dan, can you hear us, Dan?
Yes.
Well, apparently.
Guys. Hello.
All right, so
hello,
Dan and Jon, Josiah and Jim. Do we have Josiah?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay,
right,
wow, yay. All right, so Josiah gets Jim. Dan gets Jon. Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right. Hold on, I gotta scroll down here. All right. Coming into today, there were 8 teams in Major League Baseball with a run differential, you know how much we love that here, of at least plus 30. Today's question, name any of those 8 teams with a run differential of at least plus 30.
Okay. I'm going to put Josiah up first because Dan called in after Josiah. So, Josiah, what is your first guess?
Ooh. I'm going to go with the Cubs.
The Cubs.
Good guess.
On the list.
Good offense.
Dan, you're up. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Yankees.
Yankees. On the list. There we go.
All right.
Josiah, back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's go with the Padres.
The Pods.
Good guess.
They're on the list. There we go. Back to you, Dan. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I don't like saying the word, but Dodgers.
The Doyers. Yes, on the list. There we go. Josiah, back to you to go 3 for 3. What's your final guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's go with the Giants.
The Giants. There we go. All right. So, Dan, you're going to need this to send this thing to overtime. What do you got here? You also have a lifeline, which is Jon, if you want to use it.
Jon, my man, I'm going lifeline.
You're going lifeline? All right.
Yeah.
Sound
confident.
I know. I don't say. You know what? I'll give you the New York Mets, who have a similar record to the San Diego Padres. So I'll go with the New York Mets.
I'm going to go with the New York Mets.
Boom. How about that?
All right. So we're going to overtime. Brent, you're going to give us the rules of overtime. and then the question of overtime.
All right, guys, how overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you another question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out your name. Whoever yells out the name of your partner first, you will either win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys got it?
Got it. Yep.
All right, guys, today's overtime question. Who leads all of baseball in batting average?
Jim.
Josiah, what do you got?
Ooh, I'm going to say that is, what's his name? From the Rays, I think.
5 seconds.
I can't get it.
All right. That is not correct.
That means Dan wins.
Aaron Judge, 423, coming in. Said a nice year.
By the way, I think Dan yelled my name.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So Dan's partner was John. It wasn't Jim.
Wait, so who just didn't know?
Josiah didn't.
Okay.
I thought
Okay.
Josiah
Gotcha.
said was because the name I heard was Jim, and Josiah is my partner.
Right. So Dan's the winner.
Dan's the winner. Man, what a train wreck radio segment if there ever was one right there.
It wasn't that awful. We've had worse.
We've had way worse.
Yeah.
But it still
wasn't
doesn't mean
perfect.
it wasn't train wreck.
It was train wrecky.
Yeah,
I
it was
agree.
very train wrecky.
Who else is on the list? We missed 2 teams, right?
Yes. Do you have a guess? You won't get either one of them.
The Tigers.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You got one.
And the A's.
No. The Reds.
Oh,
wow. The Reds. Who are like 500 this year.
And they're plus 34.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations to Dan. You are going to the Outlaw Music Festival. This is with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan, May 15th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. If you'd like to go along, tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. Again, that is Ticketmaster.com. Yeah, it was a bit of a train wreck. What was the deal, Brent? Are we the phones are cool with? Well, they're just phones, right?
We haven't had to use the conference calling thing yet,
Right.
and we're the only show that uses it.
Do that, yeah.
So we have nobody. We didn't have the Fletch Zone wasn't a guinea pig for us to kind of figure out how it goes. So
yeah. All right.
They were our guinea pigs.
On the other side, hour 4 of Jon and Jim, updates from Yankee Stadium, plus NBA playoffs, semifinal rounds underway here this evening. We're here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Padres and Yankees underway in New York after about a 30-minute rain delay. We are scoreless, bottom of the second inning there. Jackson Merrill's with the team in New York. He's expected to be activated and in the lineup in tomorrow's game. And NBA playoff action, second round action right now. Celtics leading the Knicks 46-38 with 5:43 left in the first half. Thunder and Nuggets, game one of that series tips off at 6:30 p.m. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal, like the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, fries, and a small soft drink. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. The best deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
It's Jon and Jim to warm up that drive home.
Looks like we'll have to wait one additional day to see Jackson Merrill. If he doesn't play tonight and the Padres play Jim, it's a 24th consecutive game that Jackson Merrill has missed. The good news is they're 22-11.
It's a little weird, but I get it. I think it's weather. I think it's also travel. If the whole time that the plan was for him to travel today, it's probably smart. You just want to rest.
Time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. Hard to believe we'll be here until 6.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe we reached the final hour of the show.
Like it never was going to happen.
We've somehow made it this far.
We somehow did it on a Monday.
And we're going to do it all week long. We'll keep you updated, obviously, on Padres and Yankees. I saw an interesting article here at ESPN.com. Also, shout out to Lamont Butler, who's received a G League Combine invite. He was not on the initial list. There have been 2 or 3 players that have withdrawn, and Lamont Butler is on that list. Jaden Ledee last year got a G League invite. Lamont Butler today getting a G League invite. Of course, Miles Bird getting an invite to the NBA Combine last week as well. What do you make of what Lawrence Frank, the general manager of the Clippers, had to say today, which is that they're going to continue to build around both James Harden and Kawhi Leonard? So the Clippers are fully committed to both Harden and Leonard moving forward, staking their future on these 2 stars. Good strategy or not for the LA Clippers?
No. What are we doing here? Kawhi, you keep.
Right.
James Harden, he is the opposite of what you want, which is you want a winner. He's not a winner. He's just not. He does some nice things, and he's played better with the Clippers this season, but he's getting up there in age.
He's 2 years older than Kawhi. He's 35. Kawhi's 33.
He never, ever, ever, and will never, ever, ever come up in any big moments in the postseason. He always shrinks from the moment. He will never show up in the big games. So with that, you try to move on.
Yeah, I wonder what the theory is, honestly. I feel like by doubling down here, I'm with you on Kawhi. He's 33. He's proven when healthy, he is among the better players in the league. But I wonder from like a Clippers perspective, are you just kind of like selling stars a little bit? Hey, we have James Harden, right? We have Kawhi Leonard. Like these are very marketable players. And they had a good year. Like they did. Had a good year, 5th seed in the West, 7-game series.
I thought the Clippers were going to make some noise in the postseason.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought
how they
that.
played leading up to the postseason. They were one of the hottest teams.
Right.
And I just felt like they were clicking. And in the postseason, it's all about matchups. And they ran into a matchup that just wasn't good for them in the Nuggets.
It kind of was, though. I mean, they had game 1. They blew that in Denver. I mean, they won 3 games. It's not like they were. I don't know how matchup dependent it was. I mean, they lost in 7 games and they threw away game 1.
If Aaron Gordon didn't have that put back dunk with 0.01 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, exactly. Was that game 1?
No, that was game 2. That was early on in the series. Maybe it was game 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
It was 2 or 3.
Yeah, that might have been an Intuit Dome. Yeah, because I forget. I thought they trailed by like 20 points, the Clippers, in the second half. They came all the way back in the game before losing with like 0.1 seconds on the clock. I forget what game that was. I want to say that was at the Intuit Dome in like game 3 or 4.
That was game 4.
Yeah.
To tie the series. Tie the series. The Clippers would have gone up 3-1.
Right. So they had their opportunities.
Well, actually, no. They wouldn't have gone up 3-1 because it was a tie game. So that would have gone overtime. We don't know.
Right. We don't know what would have happened. I mean, again, it's like Clippers are an interesting franchise, is what I would say. I mean, they've invested heavily. Could you ask for a better owner than Steve Ballmer? Like, guy's committed to spending and winning. He built the arena with his own money, okay? And he's built around stars, and they've been irrelevant for the better part of the last 50 years, but they haven't really won in the postseason with Kawhi. You know, they had the bubble team. I think they blew a 3-1 series lead in Orlando in the bubble. It's just like, I don't know, like, are you going to win, I guess is my question with Harden and Leonard moving forward. And I don't know, maybe.
We know probably better than anybody in this town when it comes to sometimes sports franchises, just for whatever reason, something always bad happens.
They're on that list.
They're on that list. Clippers, Chargers. I hate to say it. You know,
Don't say it.
Well, until they prove like they can do it. Padres have been on that list. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's the fact. Like, there are just teams that for whatever reason, now the Padres haven't been in the postseason as much over the course of their history to like really have that stick home. But yeah, for those franchises, it's like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And when they're in a big game, more often than not, they just they just don't show up and they shrink and they lose in like embarrassing fashion. And that's just what it is with the Clippers. And they'll always be that way. I feel like they're going to need some like divine intervention from like the basketball gods. Like, everybody they play needs to get like injured for them to overcome being the Clippers.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's like you can change hands with ownership to literally have Steve Ballmer, one of the richest people in the world.
Yep.
You can build your own arena so you don't have to play Sundays at 11:30 a.m. at Staples. You can go out and land Kawhi Leonard. Like, that's a pretty big addition when they landed him.
Yep. Change the name of the team.
Maybe.
I'm kind of being serious
with that. I mean, they've done so many rebrands, right? Like, their current logos are recent rebrand. The Sea Clipper boat.
Yeah, I don't
it's
like
on center. Either do I.
Doesn't make any sense.
The arena looks nice.
Arena looks great. The arena's really awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I need to hit that up.
Feel bad for Farbod.
He texted me over the weekend.
Was he? His Twitter was like a meltdown.
Was it? So Farbod Esnashari, who's covered the Clippers for forever. This is what he texted me on Friday. He said, "So far, Clippers are undefeated, 3-0. When I go on TV or radio these playoffs, I feel like I may have to go on tomorrow out of superstition." I said, "We'd love to have you if we had a show on Saturday." And he said, "No." And I put laughing emoji. Haven't heard from him since. He's in hiding.
He is. That's rough, man. It's rough.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, Clippers, Chargers, Padres all have obviously San Diego ties.
Yeah.
At one point or another.
Should all be in San Diego, truthfully.
Of the three, the team actually with the best history is actually the Padres. Padres have appeared in 2 World Series. Chargers have appeared in 1 Super Bowl. Clippers haven't appeared in a NBA final.
Never, no. They never gone to Western Conference final. Have they? No.
We always say, is that accurate? That's so crazy.
I know the Lob City Clippers never went to a Western Conference final because they always choked with Chris Paul and Doc Rivers.
Right. That's crazy.
I don't think they've ever gone to a Western Conference final.
I mean, they landed Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and they haven't been to a Western Conference final, right?
Yeah, well, Paul George decided he wanted to do a podcast instead of like play basketball.
Is that what he said?
And then Kawhi just was hurt a lot.
Right. No, hold on.
When did they make it? When did they make it to a Western Conference final?
The 2020-2021 season.
So the COVID year? No. The year after COVID?
The year after COVID, they lost to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, the year that the Suns played the Bucks in the finals. That was right?
And they lost 4-2.
Yeah, okay.
To the Suns.
So that was their only appearance ever in a Western Conference final.
Correct. In the last 3 years, they've lost in the first round. And the year before that, they didn't make the postseason.
Yeah.
So what are you saying with the team? Well,
no,
they just did.
I'm just saying that like the Rockets yesterday, all right?
Yep.
Like, think about this. And this is just in the Steph Curry era.
Well, here we go.
Steph's 5-0 in his career against the Rockets in the postseason.
They should build a statue for him outside.
In Houston, they really should.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Curry should get like a stake in that team.
Mm-hmm.
And they went through their run in the 2015s, late 2015s, right?
Right.
Then they went through a rebuild, and now they're on the other side of their rebuild where they're good, and they still lost to Steph. Sometimes It doesn't matter
Team
about the
has your number.
players. It's the history. Sometimes history is bigger.
It's interesting.
Not
you
all
say
the
that.
time, not all the time, but sometimes it is. It's like, well, you know, you might have new players, but they're still the same franchise.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think like Rockets Warriors is one-sided because I wouldn't think that they have met so often in like meaningful
5
series,
times
but
in
that's
10
a lot.
years. That's a good amount.
Again, in the NBA with so many teams in, I guess you're gonna run and so many rounds, and
Yeah.
the Warriors have been so good, so they're playing on average like 2, 3, 4 rounds
Right.
over the last 10 years. That kind of makes sense.
By the way,
Rockets also have the ties to San Diego.
interesting stat with the Warriors win last night over the Rockets. They now have won a series in the postseason as every seed in the postseason. So they've won it as a 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, 17, and 8 seed.
Are they does a 9 or a 10 because weren't they in the play-in?
Well,
Or they were 7 or 8?
technically, yeah. They were a 7 seed.
Okay, this year they were 7.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but-
So they've won a series as every seed.
Yeah.
They won as an 8.
That was the We Believe year in 07
That's crazy.
when they beat the number 1 seeded Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks won like 60 plus games that year.
I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
That was like one of the biggest upsets in NBA history.
You made the point earlier. I mean, listen, the winners here are probably like the NBA and their media rights
Nice swing,
holders.
Tyler. Sorry.
The winners are probably the media rights holders for the Western Conference playoffs because T-Wolves Warriors is going to be way more compelling than T-Wolves Rockets. Like Rockets have no stars, none, and the Warriors have all stars. Like they have all stars, Curry, Butler, right? It's just way more compelling, and the Lakers are out. So if you're the NBA, you prefer to have the Lakers in than out, and they're out. So if you didn't have the Warriors in the West, and you didn't have the Lakers in the West, I feel like that would have been a huge, huge loss for the NBA and TV ratings. But now they have the Warriors, and who knows? In the playoffs, it's so different than the regular season. Who's to say the Warriors can't beat the T-Wolves and can't beat the Oklahoma City Thunder? Who's to say that?
Thunder might be difficult if they get there.
But I mean, are you going to, if they make the Western Conference Finals, you're going to be like, hey, great, your season over? No, you're going to be all in. Well, that's how you are with every series in every game. But I mean, if they can make the Western Conference Finals,
I'm just happy that we get to see, or I get to watch more of Steph Curry.
Well, he's not retiring, is he?
No, but he's also
not a kid
on the the last leg of his career, where
he doesn't look like it.
I know he doesn't look like it. He could probably play till he's like 45, but still, 37. Who knows how long he can keep playing at this level?
Right.
I mean, it's just as a fan of Steph, and if you're a fan of LeBron, same thing. You want to just watch as much of basketball from them as you possibly can, and winning a round, that means we get minimum 4 more games of watching Steph Curry play basketball in the postseason in meaningful games.
Yeah, it'd be more than that. There's no world where the Warriors are going to be swept by the T-Wolves. In fact, they probably have a decent shot of winning this series. Oh, I don't know what the Vegas odds are.
Timberwolves are minus 165 to win the series.
All right, so a decent shot.
I think the fact that Steph is a shooter, that's going to prolong his career longer because, if you look at like LeBron, his whole game is, drive to the basket, make contact.
But even then,
big
LeBron's
dunks
game
in
is
his
still like
knees
translated to
23 years, 22.
43 years old.
It is crazy. It is crazy how some of the best players in the NBA have defied age. I mean, that is really incredible.
And guys like Russell Westbrook are now, they're evolving into like I'm more of a 6th man guy. I'm not the triple double guy anymore.
That's a great point.
Because his game was predicated on Brett said with LeBron, just being the guy that just drives the basket like all the time, like a John Morant type.
Right.
If you can't shoot, you're gonna have to evolve and change the way you play because, you got to shoot. You got to be able to shoot the ball.
All right, we'll have updates from the Bronx on the other side, plus the NBA playoffs where the Celtics and Knicks are underway tonight. OKC and Denver will play later tonight as well. Jim's back. Pages ahead. We're here until 6. Jon and Jim. Right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Jim's back page coming up this hour. Padres and Yankees underway in the Bronx. No score. A wet night in New York City. No score in the bottom of the third inning. This game got underway late because of a rain delay. The news of the day related to the Padres, other than this game, is Jackson Merrill, who is now rejoined the team but is not yet active. He completed a rehab in AA San Antonio, played 2 games, Saturday and Sunday, traveled today to New York. And the expectation now is for him to be activated tomorrow, and we'll wait on the corresponding move from the Padres tomorrow.
Welcome back, Jackson Merrill.
It's raining.
You get to face Max Fried.
Wednesday. Yes. Right?
Oh, no, that's tomorrow.
Look that up.
You're probably right.
But he will face Max Fried in the series.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Schmidt.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you actually faced a guy with a 5.52.
Okay, perfect. Hey, Jackson Merrill, you're going to face a guy with a 5.5 ERA.
But
Wednesday, you'll be facing one of the toughest lefties in baseball, in Max Fried,
who has a 1.01 in 7 starts. He is 6-0 with a 1.01 ERA.
I did not realize how good Max Fried was. Now, he got the largest contract of any pitcher this offseason.
Right.
Like a $220-something million or whatever. And everyone's like, that's an awful deal.
Right.
And he's gone out there and through 44 2/3 innings pitched this year, has a 101 ERA with a .94 whip.
That's
and he's
a nice
6-0 on the
year.
season.
It's a pretty nice year.
It's a decent year.
I am excited to see Jackson Merrill back on field for the Padres. It will be 24 games that Merrill has been out, about a month with all those off days.
The record without him so far is?
That's the question. When he left, were they 8-2?
They were 8-2 when he left.
And what's the record now?
22-11.
So 14-9, 5 games over 500. You know what that winning percentage is? It's damn good.
Very good.
Like really, really good. Trent Grisham is just homered against his former club. And he hit it like 700 feet. They won the trade. They won the Soto trade. Right?
Yankees won the
Trent
Soto.
Grisham has hit 9 home runs. How is that possible? Can you explain that to me, Jim? How Trent Grisham could have had 9 home runs in a month? He would run into a ball occasionally as a Padre.
He would also have hot stretches like this as a Padre. Not like this. Not
Right.
where he's got almost double-digit home runs, but that was a bomb.
Oh, it was a bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. Look.
It doesn't matter that they beat the Pirates, Jim.
I hated that.
What are they going to do when they play a good team like the Yankees?
Yeah, and if they lose tonight, people were like, "Oh, told you."
They haven't beaten anyone good. Well, they're 12-8 against teams
Like-
over 500.
Like, stop.
Yeah, I mean,
Yankees are a good team.
yeah, definitely.
They're in New York. Aaron Judge is hitting 1,000,000.
It's like raining.
Yeah, it's awful
Right.
there. They're facing tough lefties.
Yeah, again, this game isn't over. It's the third inning. It's 2-0 Yankees. Yankees have been good at home. They're 11-7 at home. Yeah, it's a test. Obviously, there's a test this series. Good pitching matchups, good environment in terms of Yankee Stadium. Of course, this is going to be a test. And also, Yankee Stadium, not every game is going to be 1-2-1 because of the short porches everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Not that would have been out of every ballpark.
Right,
All the
yeah.
Grisham just did would have been out of every single ballpark. So I'm expecting a good series, and hopefully the Padres play well in this series. They've played really well overall. Winners of 5 consecutive games, but they'll have to do it and come from behind fashion here tonight.
Yeah, I think looking at this series, taking 2 of 3 obviously is the goal.
Yep.
But even if you did lose the series, guess what your consolation prize is? Going to Colorado to face the worst team in baseball. Now, I will say playing in Colorado at Coors Field has always been like a house of horrors.
Mm-hmm.
But still, they are awful this year. I mean, they are like Chicago White Sox of last year awful.
Right.
That's the pace that they're on right now.
Right.
So you get a little bit of a reprieve there, and also you get an off day on Thursday. But am I just because they're down 2-0 right now? Am I saying season over?
There goes the year. Well, again,
No.
when you start 22-11, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to win every single game, and you're not going to. To your point of the Rockies, every day I look, they lose 2 more games. I swear I looked yesterday; they were 6-26. They're now 6-28. 6-28. That's hard to do.
Dude,
2-17 on the road.
How do you lose that many games in a row? I mean, how are you that awful?
Unfortunately, the Buddy Black. I mean, if you're
Poor Buddy.
you're not going to want to be there.
I feel awful
for beyond this, and it's been just
their owner Dick Montfort is so
man.
bad.
They've been so bad for so long, dude.
I mean, Chris Bryant literally stealing money from that franchise.
Nice deal.
Stealing
that
money.
was what they were missing, right? Chris Bryant.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That made no sense.
Stealing money.
Yeah.
And Dick Montfort had the audacity to call out Peter Seidler for all the money that he spent for his team when Dick Montfort, he spent money on Chris Bryant, but other than that, you've done nothing. You've done nothing, my guy. Now, who wants to sign with the Rockies anyway? Because they suck.
Listen to this, Jim. This once quasi-proud franchise. Rockies under Montfort.
Wait, whoa. Did you say proud franchise?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Rockies have been a good organization in their history.
I
bet the Rockies have been, over the first 25 years of their history, as comparable to the Padres. That's not saying a lot.
One World Series. They got swept.
Okay. I mean, they've not been around since 96.
I don't think they're a proud franchise.
Once proud franchise. You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I disagree with you.
Okay.
But over the last 10 years, 71-91, 26-34, 74-87, 68-94, 59-103, 61-101, 6-28.
How did we get on a Rockies discussion?
I don't know, but they've never lost 100 games in the season until the last 2 years.
I mean, they're a proud franchise.
They're not embarrassing. They probably made the postseason as many times in their history as the Padres have in theirs.
You know how many times they've won the division?
0.
Exactly. Proud franchise.
Dude, I mean, they've made the postseason 5 times. That's as many as the Padres have in 60 years.
At least the Padres have won their division. Am I right?
So you're saying that the Rockies weren't good back in the day?
I mean, they had good seasons. They had good players, but they're not, I don't think a proud, I don't view the Rockies as this gold standard franchise in baseball.
Standard, but I mean, I would say comparable to the Padres.
When I think once proud franchise, I'm thinking a lot of winning, not just they did okay.
They've had good teams, dude. Big Cat.
Andres Galarraga.
Tulowitzki.
Troy Tulowitzki.
Arenado.
Todd Helton.
Right.
Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This was a proud franchise.
Proud franchise.
Dude, remember those
when other teams are proud franchises in baseball? If the Rockies, oh my God.
What would you call the Padres?
At least the Mariners have a record-breaking season.
What would you call the Padres?
I would call the Padres just a
franchise.
A baseball franchise.
You would never call them a once proud franchise.
When were they once proud? I mean,
right now.
Okay, great. Still have no World Series and only 2 World Series appearances in their history.
That's what I'm saying. That the Rockies, whatever.
Once proud franchise.
They were back in the day. I remember.
What do you mean back in the day?
4 million fans a year.
That's great. What does that mean? Nothing.
All right. This Once Proud show returns next.
It's our new nickname. This update's brought to you by the Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. Padres Yankees underway in New York. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Yankees leading the Padres 2-0 top of the 4th inning thanks to a old friend Trent Grisham 2-run home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Moving over to the NBA, round 2 underway. Game 1 right now happening between the Celtics and the Knicks. We're at halftime there, and Celtics are all over the Knicks, 61-45. Thunder and Nuggets tip off game 1 of their series at 6:30 p.m. in Oklahoma City. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, Jim's back page coming up in 15 minutes. Padres and Yankees underway. Yankees on a Trent Grisham 2-run home run leading in the 4th inning 2-0. Do you know who won the NHL draft lottery tonight?
I do, John.
Brent, do you know who won the NHL draft lottery tonight? I'll tell you who it is. It's a once proud franchise, and I'm not kidding when I say that.
That is correct.
They won 4 straight Stanley Cups.
A once proud franchise in the New York Islanders won the draft lottery tonight in the NHL when they were originally picked 11th. So I guess they jumped all the way up.
They jumped 9 spots. They jumped over the worst team in the NHL, the San Jose Sharks.
My San Jose Sharks.
#1 pick.
A once proud franchise.
They were very proud.
They were very proud.
Have the Sharks won anything?
No, they've done nothing. So they're not a proud franchise.
All right. Anyway, Islanders have the top pick. Here's what I wanted to mention.
The Rockies were a once proud franchise.
Dude, they were at one point. The year they went to the World Series, people were very proud of them. Were they not?
That doesn't make you a proud franchise.
70470 started with team. Were the Rockies a once proud franchise? Or call us 877-767-4760.
I get if you want to say
this Bogart's rocket shot. Look at this.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, rocket.
Yep, it's awesome.
See that?
Nice, love it.
That's a base hit.
Yeah, it's almost over the wall. The Islanders, you could say once proud franchise because guess what? Like you said, they won 4 straight Stanley Cups.
Is that good?
It's very good.
It's most in the history of the NHL, I think.
Yeah, they had Hall of Famers galore. And
name 2 of them.
I can't. Was Gretzky on that team? I don't know. He was on the Oilers, right?
Who was on those Islanders teams? I have no idea. Anyway, here's my
once proud.
But here's where I wanted to transition. Here's where I wanted to transition because that's for the NHL, right? In the draft. So the NFL officially announced today DC will host not the 2026, but the 2027 NFL.
Where's 2026 at?
Somewhere else. Where's the 2020? Someone looked at
Green Bay was this past year.
Where's it?
It's Pittsburgh, I think.
Pittsburgh. Oh, great.
Having Pittsburgh more.
I don't think a once proud franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah.
Very proud.
Very proud.
Well, I'll give you a once proud franchise, the Washington at the time Redskins.
Yeah, they've won a Super Bowl.
Now they fell in hard times for 25 years under Dan Snyder.
But they were once proud.
They've won 3 Super Bowls, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're going to hold the draft in DC. Now, remember, this past year, we were told 600,000 fans attended the draft in Green Bay. And we're like, why are you in Green Bay to watch like names get called? They are expecting in 2027, this will be at the Capitol building on the National Mall.
The Capitol building?
Dude. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Overlooking the Capitol on the National Mall. Might be a bit of a security. Might take a few minutes to get in. They're expecting 1 million, like that movie, 1 million people on the National Mall for the 2027 NFL draft.
Yeah, I'm totally out.
Like, you don't want to do this.
Like show? I am so out. There is no way in hell you could put me in the middle of a crowd of 1 million people.
Right.
No chance.
You're out on this.
Dude, it's like, would you ever want to go to Times Square for New Year's Eve?
Absolutely not.
So why the hell would I want to go to this?
Good point. Because they're at least announcing like football names.
I can watch at home and look on my phone and actually get self-service
5 minutes before everyone else
and go to the bathroom and get food and not have to worry about standing in a crowd of 1 million people when I probably can't even hear the names in the first place.
Their guess of 1 million people has to be like in Green Bay where that's the whole weekend though. like how they tried to say, 600,000 people were in Green Bay. Yeah, if you count all of the days, but there was no more than 100,000 there like each day.
They said for the 3-day event, you're right. Okay, this is 2027. By the way, DC just got approval, or this ownership group, for a new stadium. Their stadium is awful. So they're going to have a new stadium. They hope to get future Super Bowls. They're going to have the NFL draft. They're coming off a year in which they got to an NFC title game.
And they have Jaden Daniels, which is the truth at quarterback.
They have the truth at quarterback.
They might return to a very proud franchise without Daniel Snyder there. I'm never living that one down. Proud franchise.
It's a proud franchise.
Everybody's a proud franchise now.
You get a proud franchise.
Yeah, you get a proud franchise. You're a proud franchise. You're a proud franchise.
Listen, until Dick Monfort.
Dude, it's pouring
in New York.
This game's getting banged, bro.
Well, the thing is,
get through
unlike
5.
back in the day, it doesn't even matter. They'll pick it up from where it is.
I know, but still.
There's
no way.
I don't want them getting it through 5 and then this game becoming official.
I know, but
I want this being a 9-inning game. With the
I do
Padres
too. But I bet you that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get through this right here.
Yeah, I'm not cool with that. But I think you're right. So it is absolutely pouring in New York, and they're playing through it. 2-0 Yankees on a Trent Grisham home run. We're talking about the draft?
We're talking about the draft, yeah. All the proud franchises that are hosting the draft.
We're talking about tonight, the wrap-up show.
I can't
By the way, the Rockies have a lower all-time winning percentage than the Padres.
Once proud franchise.
They were once proud.
They were never once proud.
Dude, if you would have
compared to who?
If you would have asked people the day
to the Yankees, no.
They went to the World Series, whatever year that was, right before the World Series started.
It was 07. We'd all remember that year because Matt Holliday never touched home plate.
Yeah, but we also all remember that year because they got swept in the World Series.
They had like 30 days off before the World Series started because they swept their way through the National League, the postseason there, the National League. And then, they had a million days off.
Here's my question for you. Do you think Major League Baseball should follow NFL's path and have a traveling draft?
Say that again. The NBA? Baseball?
NBA too. Or baseball. Do you think baseball should take their draft on the road?
No, because nobody cares about the Major League Baseball draft.
Okay. Do you think the NBA should take their draft on the road?
I think the NBA should, yes.
Just take it around.
But not like to this level, but to take it around different places, yes.
Okay.
Like we're in San Francisco this weekend. We're in LA this weekend. We're wherever.
You compare the NFL draft with 1 million people to the Major League Baseball draft, like
30.
Studio 42 in like Teaneck, New Jersey, with like 5 people in the studio.
No, nobody's there.
You can't even compare them.
You can't, because the baseball draft,
like you said, nobody knows.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for our buddies at Mad Friars. The draft is like their Super Bowl, right? But the thing is, to the average fan, nobody knows these guys.
Not just the average fan. I mean, how could you possibly know who Jackson Merrill is before he was drafted?
Nobody. Like, you hear these names, you're like, oh, great. But I mean, unless you're the top pick or the top 5 picks, it's like nobody knows these guys. And even if you're a top 5 pick, it might take you 3, 4, 5 years to get to the big leagues.
I never expected the NFL draft to become this. I remember growing up and watching this thing from like Radio City Music Hall for 25 years. And it was great. And it was, a great television event. But this is where the NFL really, truly is king. How you can take your draft and turn it into this quickly.
You know why? I think.
Why?
So baseball, we just talked about it, takes 3, 4, 5 years for guys to come to the bigs.
Yeah.
That's why nobody pays attention to it. The NBA, what the NBA has done, and it's morphed into, it's a star league. You're never seeing rookies lead teams anymore to championships. That will never happen. It's all about stars. And usually the teams that have the top draft picks in the NBA, they all suck. And they don't have stars on their team. They don't have the Stephs and LeBrons, and you know what I'm saying? So you got to wait for that. Like, Giannis took him how many years before he became a star?
That's a good point.
Right?
Yep.
In the NFL, as quickly as like the next year, you could see a team like the Washington Commanders. Jane Daniels in the NFC title game.
You're right. You could see Ashton Janty run for 1,500 yards this year in Las Vegas.
Yeah. The NFL draft is so important for the future of these franchises, because look at the Philadelphia Eagles this past year. Won the Super Bowl, blew out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Majority of their team was built through the draft.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Like, that is how teams are built. In the NFL, rarely do you say a team was built through free agency. Yes, free agency is big, but it's not everything. The draft in the NFL is everything. If you don't draft well, you're not going to be good.
I think that's well said. Brent, what do you got?
Do you think the NBA should adopt the NFL's draft thing and get rid of the lottery so the worst team gets the number one pick?
But then tanking's in play.
Tanking's been such
tanking's still in play though because they're still doing it.
Well, yes, but in the sense that
worse.
like if you knew the worst team in the NBA was going to get the number one pick, then there would be even way more types of tanking things happening.
But would you have a bigger problem with them tanking knowing that that's going to get them the pick, or them tanking knowing that they might end up picking 11th and that they did it all for nothing?
What if the NFL adopted more of an NBA or NHL strategy, which is just because you have the worst record in the NFL doesn't mean you're guaranteed the top pick?
That's what they do have now.
How?
The NBA?
No, the NFL.
Oh, the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the NBA.
No.
Yeah, no, I would like that. I also think in the NBA, the NBA, in the NFL, you can't really tank. And I'll say because of this way. You can tank by making certain roster moves.
You can start Shedeur Sanders at quarterback for the Browns, and guess what? You're not winning more than 2 games.
But in the NFL, there's this thing called tape. And everybody, once you get on the field, there's tape on everybody. And so a guy that isn't known is like might suck.
Right.
He's not going out there and dogging it, because if he dogs it, guess what? He's not going to get picked up by another team. They play 100%. And that's why in the NFL, it's such a popular sport, not because of everything around it, but like every single game, these guys are giving 100%, because if you don't give 100%, it shows.
Killed. Yeah, but I do think there's teams once they get to like 1-14, the organizations know that it's to their benefit to not win. Because there's times where 2 1-14 teams or 2-13 taking on, and there's a benefit to not winning.
I completely get it. I understand that, but also too, if you're the coaches, you're telling these players, look, I know we suck basically, but if you guys don't go out there and play hard, that's on tape. And while a lot of you won't be here next year, you're gonna try to get another contract somewhere else. And if you dog it here, you ain't getting another opportunity somewhere else, because that's gonna be on tape. And that's gonna be an awful look for you.
It's just not as much of an issue because when you only play 17 games, it's not as noticeable than when you play 82.
Yeah,
like
82,
teams that start 0-10 in the NBA, you're like, oh my gosh, we got to deal with this for another 70 games. Teams that start 0-10 in the NFL, the season's almost over.
Right.
So it's like one team. All right, Jim's back page coming up next. right, they've stopped the game in New York because it was, well, impossible to see.
Light rain,
and
John.
Pouring. They could not finish the bottom of the fourth inning. Nick Pivetta is flat out drenched.
That was stupid.
I mean, with just water dripping off the bill of his cap like a waterfall. His whole brown road uniform just completely soaked through. So they stopped the game with 2 outs at the bottom of the fourth inning. 2-0 Yankees. They'll either pick this up tonight or at some point tomorrow. This game is not official. If it's stopped, they'll have to finish the game through 9 innings. I guess they'll try to pick it up at some point. I haven't looked at the radar. I mean, this thing was coming down.
It was like you just stepped into a shower.
Yes, exactly.
And it was just like, okay, can we I mean, Nick Pivetta couldn't even grip the ball. And I mean, finally the umpire, thankfully, went
I can't see.
He's like, this is bad. I mean, I'm looking at your
I think there's a window, dude.
Oh, there's a window?
Really do. I think they're going to get back underway.
Well, it's pouring there.
Look at that. There's the window.
There we go. There's a window.
There's going to be a window here to pick this thing up.
But what sucks now is Nick Pivetta's night's probably over.
True. Unless it's short. You're right. I mean, if it's 30 minutes, maybe he comes back, but you're right. He's throwing a good amount of pitches, I would guess.
Yeah, he's got 77 here, and he's
probably done. At 77, you don't risk it, right?
It's the rain. I mean, yeah.
I get back up at 77 now.
Yeah.
So, 2-0. The difference in this game, Trent Grisham's 2-run home run. Because why wouldn't it be?
Of course it is.
The difference in this game is Trent Grisham's 2-run home run against the Padres. Trailing the Yankees, they're in a rain delay in the Bronx. 2-0 Yankees game, one of a 3-game series. And right now, let's get to this.
So today is May the 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo, John.
I like that.
I done. Chipotle is giving away free chips and queso.
Oh, really?
It ends today. So you got to go get free chips and queso. Nationwide, Chipotle fans, today you can score a free order of chips and queso with any entree purchase. Just use the code Cinco25 at checkout in the Chipotle app or online.
It's a good deal.
I like it.
I want to just walk in there and get chips and queso without doing anything. Like wink, like, hey,
chips
Cinco de
and
Mayo,
queso.
hook me up.
How you doing?
It's a good offer.
Yeah.
Wasn't there another one for Chipotle last week? Or like the first 50,000 people to solve some puzzle or riddle?
Yeah, Chipotle.
Like, that's too much work.
They were celebrating Cinco de Mayo with 50,000 free burritos. All you had to do was do an interactive game on Roblox called Ingredient Quest.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'll just buy the burrito.
I'll pay $10. I don't care. I'm not spending a half hour of my time figuring out this game.
Exactly.
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Love me some Pop-Tarts. Is heading to the freezer aisle this summer, John, with a brand new dessert lineup. Pop-Tarts ice cream sandwiches.
No, they didn't.
Available in 3 fan favorite flavors. Say that 3 times fast.
What are they?
Frosted strawberry, frosted chocolate fudge, and frosted brown sugar cinnamon. The frozen treats feature real Pop-Tart sandwiches with creamy ice cream for a nostalgic, indulgent twist. Each box includes 4 sandwiches and expected to roll out starting June of this year.
Are they going to do like they do with the bowl game and kill one off that doesn't sell well? Like, you will die, strawberry ice cream cake.
No, I don't think so.
Dude, the bowl game has been
the Pop-Tart bowl. It's all about the Pop-Tart. It's not about the game. The game is like whatever.
They're eating that massive Pop-Tart.
I know.
Sea of Pop-Tart.
Because roasting it alive wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna literally melt it alive like the end of Raiders of the Lost
Dude,
Ark when they look inside the Covenant.
Yeah, just kill the Pop-Tart and just like die, brown sugar, die. I would not be able to get any of this. What I'm about to say right here. So Krispy Kreme, I've had Krispy Kreme on the back page a lot lately, but they're doing a lot of cool deals. They're giving away a free glazed donut to students who bring in their report cards for every A they have on their report card.
So you would have had 0 donuts.
Correct. Krispy Kreme is making academic success even sweeter for students across the country. The deal is open to students in grades K through 12.
K
Kindergarten, yeah.
No, I understand what it is, but I'm like, how many A's are being handed out in kindergarten?
I don't know.
Probably all.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
you're not getting A's in kindergarten, you got other issues in life, I think.
I don't think kindergartners can even drive themselves to Krispy Kreme,
No,
right?
probably
Yeah, that checks out.
Jones is not driving himself,
probably
right?
not.
Yeah. All they need to do is bring in a current report card showing their A grades to a participating Krispy Kreme location, whether it's straight A's or just a couple of A's. You will receive a free glazed donut.
That's terrific.
That is terrific. Yeah.
Would you go forge your report card and pretend like you're 17 to take advantage of that offer?
1,000%.
Shave for the first time in 20
I'm like,
years.
I'm 18.
Hi.
I'm like from the bench warmers. I'm 14.
I am 12.
I am 12.
Dude.
Like, what? Here's my birth certificate. It's a piece of paper. It says I'm 12 on it. Finally, this is an advance. Mother's Day is this coming weekend.
That caught up on us quick.
Very. So do all your Mother's Day gifts now.
I bought
Cards,
something, actually.
flowers, chocolate, whatever it is.
I know.
Mother's Day is a week. Well, it's less than a week. It's on
Less
Sunday.
than a week. I know, you're right.
Yeah, so send out your cards like today. If you don't, mom's going to be
You're a
pissed.
bad kid.
You're an awful kid and you won't get any Krispy Kreme donuts. But I say that because the menu for Crumble Cookie this week is Mother's Day inspired.
Ooh.
So the cookies this week are a tres leches cake,
Okay.
cookies and cream milkshake cookie featuring mini Oreos, a raspberry cheesecake cookie, a pink velvet cake cookie, a double fudge brownie cookie, and a lemon cupcake cookie.
Okay.
So all those cookies right there combined for 70,000 calories.
If you want to make your mom put on weight,
Yeah. If you want her to
buy
get
them
fat,
all.
yeah, just buy all these cookies and make her eat it in
Hey,
one sitting.
Mom.
I'll give mom the gift of diabetes this year.
Mom, just mom, just eat all these cookies
Just
right
eat
now.
these. You'll thank me later.
Yeah. So
Is that what you got for the back page?
that's what I got for the back page.
Here's the other back page. Padres, Yankees in a delay, 2 outs, bottom 4. Absolutely pouring in New York. Now, someone made the good point. You mentioned Pavetta. Maybe this is Chase Carlos Rodon, who went 4 scoreless innings. Did he allow a hit?
He allowed 2 hits, John.
Okay, so that wasn't one.
One very fluky hit to Xander Bogaerts was a
Pop up
pop-up.
with 2 feet.
Yeah. But it's a line drive in the box score.
He smoked that ball.
He really did.
Straight in the air. It must have went 300 feet.
Launch angle's insane on that ball.
Straight up.
It's going to help his launch angle for bad now.
So does that chase Rodon potentially? Do they pick this game up tonight?
Well, this is all the. If not, they're just going to do it before tomorrow's game. Would you think? Right?
Yes.
Like start at like 1 p.m. Pacific. No, start at like
maybe
noon Pacific.
I don't know. I really don't.
For the sake of our show, I hope they finish the game
Tonight's
tonight.
game, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, they're gonna say we'll pick this up at 2:01 Pacific tomorrow, and then play the original game at 4.
Screw us. Yeah.
But Padres trailing the Yankees tonight at Yankee Stadium. Rainy night. I mean, just
You
terrible,
think?
terrible conditions. Just terrible conditions.
A once proud franchise in New York.
The Yankees are a once proud franchise. Would you put the Rockies in the same category as the Yankees? I would.
Can't believe you said that.
Well, both haven't won a title in 15 plus years. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, actually.
We'll talk about that tonight on the wrap-up show if this game is actually finished.
Yeah.
If you missed anything today, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Or sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. If you're listening to us via podcast, please leave a review. And we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to talk all about rain.
Yes, rain talk.
If you
It's gonna
missed
rain.
anything. All right, for Brent and Jim, I'm
Go
John.
rain.
Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Bye-bye.